It took so long to start playing there for a minute, Magic Bollocks. I actually thought that maybe the gods of YouTube, the very rainmakers of the internet, the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, Google network, alphabet soup, amazing, at least with godlike powers entity, you know, that probably seems to very much have our lives, our wills, and our destinies in their hand. I thought that maybe those people, in case anybody wondered when I said them or they, who they are, them, they, you know, was maybe going to stop us from even going on. Because as I've noted in the pre-chat here with us, Common Senseguy, he's MIA. He'll be around, I guarantee you. Something's going down. Hopefully everyone out there, and I'm not asking for a prayer circle or a drum circle or any kind of hoodoo, voodoo, magic, or sangria or Santeria or anything like that. Just saying, well, if you know Common Sense and you like him, you enjoy him, send out some mental vibes right now that say, we love you, Common Sense. We want the best for you. We hope that everything's all right and that you're just, you know, your whole family is doing fine. And if not, that you have the fortitude to bear up underneath of it, and we'll all be here for you. So I don't know, maybe that was a little heavy-hearted. I've got this story up here, but before I do it, Magic Bollocks, I've been talking now for damn near a straight minute, and no one cares to hear my voice or what I have to say. What's up, man? How's your day today? What's going on since Monday?
Just usual, mate. What's good? Been to work. Done a few chores around the house, fed the animals, and I've come here to listen to your lovely, gentle tone to finish off my evening.
Sweet. Oh, as always, until we get you going, because I'm telling you what, too, folks, I got some stories. I think maybe this first one, it might get you tap dancing, Magic Bollocks. You may be tap dancing across the stage before it's all said and done, with an opinion or two about what we here in we Yanks here in the States, the wayward colonies, trying to get my English correct, sir. The way us Yanks in the wayward colonies do it, we call it posse comitatus, which is just Latin for policing amongst the people. So a police officer should be from the people, elected by the people, and the ones that aren't elected, hired by the one that is elected, i.e. by sheriffs. And that means something vastly different here. They're the sheriffs take your stuff you can't pay for. That's how it is in the UK. I just happen to know because I love the UK. I watch a lot of your reality TV also, a ridiculous amount. But here our sheriffs are like the sheriff of Nottingham in a different way. Instead of coming to collect taxes like your sheriffs still seem to do, they actually do enforce the peace, and it's posse comitatus. So here, boom, I already did it again. Man, Common Sense. He'll either show up or Magic Box until he gets here. I would like you to take over one of his jobs, which is stopping me from talking until everyone goes to sleep. So as soon as you feel yourself nodding off, you're supposed to say, Ogre, were you going to play that video? And the answer to that right now is yes. So I'm going to ask y'all to just kick back, get some popcorn. I'm going to be watching the side chat here with us, Magic Bollocks, and over here, chat. So please let me know on the sound quality. I've been working on this all day. So if the volume needs to go up, let me know up, down, let me know down, or if it's okay, let me know if it's okay. Reverberating, anything. So here we go. Let's take a look at this together, and maybe we can decide. I mean, we can't obviously fix anything, so to say, but maybe we can decide if there's something that should be done or that can be done about this kind of overreach.
Don't think there's any sound, Mr. Ogre.
What's the complaint about?
Okay, I will get it. Let me. I did something. I changed something here. Let me change this to Q12 stereo microphone. Now there should be this time. I'm sorry about that, folks. I got too many damn buttons to push. It's a voice meter, but I will not be able to speak. So give me one more chance here, and let's see if we can hear anything.
your ID and everything like that.
Why do you need my ID?
I need to talk to you about a complaint from the neighborhood.
What's the complaint about?
The complaint is about sound amplification.
Well, that's a legal activity.
Sound amplification is legal?
Yeah, I mean, I can show you.
Well, I understand you can legally amplify.
Yeah.
I'm talking about disturbing somebody's peace.
Yeah, that's
what
been
I deal with.
yeah, that's been ruled on.
No, don't give me the law. Just if I could get your name, would be great.
Okay, well, I'm just asking why you need my name.
I told you why.
So are you arresting me or charging me with a crime?
Not at this point. I'd like
No.
to be
So then
involved.
the state law of Arizona says that you can't ask for my ID unless I'm being charged with a crime.
Well, I am in the process of investigating a crime.
Okay. What? You just
But
ignored
whether or not
the.
you get arrested. I have to be able to do an investigation.
Sure, but the law
I
says.
don't just grab people and arrest them.
No, I appreciate the officer, but you're a law enforcement official, and I'm showing you the law. The law says that in order for you to say I'm disturbing the peace, it has to be more than a vague generality of your own opinion. You have to have a calibrated meter that demonstrates I'm over 65 decibels. Do you have a calibrated meter?
Do I have to have a calibrated meter?
You do. It's the city code. That's what it says.
Okay, so do you want to tell me who you are or you don't want to?
No, officer, I respect your position. I'm a pastor. I respect law enforcement. And since you're law enforcement, the law says that you can't ask for my ID unless you are charging me with a crime.
I can ask you a million questions. You
Yeah.
just need to tell me whether or not you want to do it or answer them.
No, and just so you know, I respect your position immensely. I believe your position is ordained by God in terms of government, but I also believe that you and I both respect the law. And our Constitution says that I have a right to remain silent and not self-incriminate. And our state law says that in order for you to actually get my ID, I have to be cited with a crime. How are you?
Sound mic for you.
Okay.
Sergeant Liz Lenzen, Tempe PD.
Hello.
Hey, who's been using the megaphone?
I have
Yeah, and what's your name?
Jeff.
Jeff who?
Yeah, Jeff. It's Pastor Jeff.
Pastor Jeff.
Yes.
I'm so supposed to know. Where are you pastor at?
Apologia Church in Tempe.
Okay, and what's your last name, Jeff?
Do you need that for anything?
Yes, we do, because we have a complaint that we're working. That's why we're here.
Okay. Well,
Otherwise, we would not be here.
no, I respect your position. I was just telling this officer over here, in order for me to identify myself, I have to be cited with a crime according to Arizona state law.
Well, we're going to give you a warning right now, so we're going to need that for our street check. So what's your last name?
Okay, so the warning is a violation of the law.
Well, because of the amplified sound device.
Well, what I was saying to the officer
Where's
was,
Zach?
he's right over here.
Zach, where's the other Zach? Zach number
Morgan,
one.
he's out of state right now.
Okay, I'm used to, they know me, and Steven knows me. So you're going to be given a warning you cannot use. And
Well, officer, you can't do that.
know-
Officer, you can't do that unless you have a calibrated meter according to city code
Oh, we can.
and you test it.
Yeah, we can. And so
You
you're
can
going to.
violate this law.
We have a complaint from the citizen.
A complaint of illegal activity.
We have a complaint
Of illegal activity.
of disorderly conduct.
Ma'am, that if you read the city code, you'll see
We're
you
not
can't.
arguing. You've been given a warning. You can't use your amplified sound device. If you will, you go to jail. You've already been given that warning.
Ma'am, you're not even looking at you're a supervisor. You won't look at the law.
No, I know the law.
We'll file a suit against you.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Lenzen.
Gotcha.
L-E-N-Z-E-N.
Okay, let's get that on the camera.
Get on the
Officer Lenzen.
cam. We got our cams going.
Officer Lenzen, would you like it to look at the law?
We'll do this. Lenzen.
Is this professional activity on your part
It
to
is.
behave in this manner?
You've got a warning, so please don't do it. We don't
What's the
really
warning
want to
for?
arrest you.
This is my question. What's the
And
warning
you've been
for?
warned already.
Officer,
Okay.
what's the warning for?
Amplified sound device.
That's legal activity.
You can't use it.
You won't look at this?
Don't use it.
It's a legal activity.
We have a complaint.
Ma'am, we'll sue you for violating our
You
constitutional
can
rights.
sue us. You can. It's your right.
It is my right, and I want to do this for the record of the court. She will not look at the city
That's
code.
the warning. Thank you.
You won't look at the city code?
Show us your papers. We will make up our own laws on this spot. We care not for what you say, citizen. Get in line. All right, well, I'm just going to go ahead, obviously, and stop this. I have a lot of things to say. But before I do, I think cooler heads should prevail. After that 4-minute little thing you just saw, do you have any opinions? What do you think about that?
The thing is that did he say he was a pastor? Did he?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm assuming.
And I'm not. Listen. I'm not for this. You could see people in the background with like anti-abortion signs and all this and whatnot. Let's forget about if we're anti, pro, whatever. He obviously researched this and went out there with the law legally and did what he could do. And a citizen complained based on a complaint of a legal activity. And I mean, so don't and feel free, don't hold back. If you care to say what you want, tell me I'm crazy for what I think you already know I'm thinking, or whatever it takes, Magic Bollocks. I know you have a good opinion. Everybody wants to hear it.
Well, the thing is, I always try to be impartial if that's possible in these, scenarios. And I respect the police. You've got to, really, if you want to avoid having a baton wrapped around the back of your head. Or, on the other hand, I can sort of understand what the pastor's trying to do. He's probably feeling that the police are there simply to get rid of the protesters when they have a perfectly legal right to protest. And he's gone in there knowing they're probably going to be targeted by the police with some ammunition to try and, effectively fight back, saying that we have information on our local laws that you should know as a law enforcement officer, that the average person in the street wouldn't know. But in my limited experience with the old bill, it's normally best not to antagonize them because it doesn't tend to come off well in the end. I remember when I was much, much younger, about 17, I think it was, and I had my first motorbike. And in this country, you can ride a bike on the road without having your full license, without taking the full test, but you're restricted on what you can do. And one thing you can't do is carry passengers, pillions. And one night, I gave a friend a lift into town because I didn't think I'd get caught. It was a short distance. But, of course, we got stopped. And the police, caught up with us, pulled me over. And I did my best to try and talk my way out of it. But my friend, well, ex-friend, I should say, decided to give the old Bill a good lecture on things like, aren't there better things you could be doing than chasing two blokes on a motorbike? Aren't there any murders or rapists you should be actually arresting than wasting time with small fish like us? And whatever sort of buttering up I was attempting to do was being systematically undone by him. So in the end, I ended up I probably could have got off with a warning, but instead ended up with a bloody great fine and points on my license that I didn't even have yet. So I don't know, especially with the American police, because we know that they can be a little bit trigger happy. If you tend to, piss them off in the wrong way. Yeah. So I don't know, really. It's a difficult one to say. I understand the pastor's point of view. Don't get me wrong, because he obviously feels that they were going to get hustled from the police anyway. I mean, the police are supposed to be completely partisan and just are there to uphold the law. But as it's like what happened with Berkeley shows, is that the police might be bipartisan, but what if the mayor isn't? What if the mayor is actually on the side of the bad guys and actually tells the police to stand down? Say there was a protest against a pro-life lobby. I would get the feeling that the police would probably be more heavy-handed with the pro-lifers than with the protesters. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's the impression I got from what I've seen over the last sort of 12 months. So I don't know. It's a difficult one, Mr. Ogre. There's no right or wrong answer on this one, I'm afraid. I mean, everybody's got an opinion, and of course you're entitled to that opinion, but I don't know. It's a difficult one. And the one thing I will say, though, that pastor has got big balls, though, to actually stand up to the old bill like that, because, you know, it doesn't matter. I mean, they wanted to give him a warning, but you just know they're building up to actually slapping the cuffs off him and throwing him in a cell, don't you?
Well, and here's the thing: when you're asked by, and please understand, until 1958, it was not the law that you had to have your photo on your driver's license. Your driver's license was a piece of paper. And the argument was, well, if you ask for my photo on there, then I've just got to give every police officer to ask my name, and I can't just give you a fake name. And you see, it was our right until about 1960 to give the cops a fake name. And then I know, and you might be saying, oh, well, wow, no. Yeah, well, look where we came from, the Old West. Anonymity is our greatest. Anonymity is mother's milk and father's sheltering arm. My name is my business. Who I am is my business. What I decide to share with you kind folks or anyone else is my business. What someone else cares to share, likewise, is their business. Someone may be liberal, Magic Bollocks, and be, and that's their business. It's not that I have something to hide and they don't, or they are whatever. It's nothing. It just has to do with anonymity is mother's milk and father's sheltering arm. And we see these police officers every time you come in contact with law enforcement in this country. It's marked down as an incident. Oh, no big deal, right? Until you're hauled into court for something you didn't do. And they say, look at you, pastor, you had 35 incidents in the last 5 years. Those incidents like this one, where someone just says, can I please have your name? Call me crazy. You're welcome to. In fact, I'm not going to kiss your ass. You're new here, but you're a man, and I respect your opinions. We'll all leave it at that. So whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. Only thing that matters is that we can all, in fact, it's more important if you're like a Common Sense guy and don't agree with the bloody thing I say, because that way we get all kinds of different angles. So I don't think he had big balls. In fact, when I look at it to a good, well-cultured British person, of course, he was just doing, he was very, he was just normal. To me, he was not only cool, he was in the middle of speaking. He said, would you like to? And she said, where's Zach? And if you notice, I mean, the whole thing was one human being saying, obviously, officers. He didn't even say this out loud, but he was obviously saying, obviously, officers, I've done my research. I know the laws. I'm not breaking them right now. I don't have to give any papers. No papers, please, to pass the checkpoint. We don't do that here. And you know what? I understand, Magic Bollocks, if to other people you don't understand why that's abhorrent. I can't think of a better word. Why it's abhorrent to an American. I don't care if the traffic stop, where they stop every car and ask for their license and whatever to see if they're drinking or if they got a whatever. I don't care if it saves every baby on the Congo. No. I have a freedom of travel. I have the perceived freedom to move myself from point A to point B in this country without harassment. And that means without an officer asking me for my name, my driver's, or anything, unless he can iterate a law that I've broken. And until that changes, man, and I hope it never does here. Now, yeah, I basically don't disagree with what you're saying. I mean, and I understand. I would just ask you this. That was my diatribe. So let me ask you this, and maybe this will get you to clarify that a little bit. And if not, say that you've said enough and we'll move on to something else or delve deeper into this. Do you, do you feel that this man was being combative by simply stating what his rights were and what the law was?
No, I don't think he was. He didn't seem aggressive at all. He was just being quite forthright in what he thought was correct. He knew the laws of that county, and it was quite interesting to see that even the police officer himself was unaware of these actual laws. But then again, I suppose there's so many, you could never expect one person to know every single bylaw or every single actual rule that there is.
You'll never know them all. So let me let you play the hero. And if you were in this position, Magic Bollocks, you don't do what you're doing now. Hell, God in heaven and the whole ages forbid, Odin save us. You're not even British. You're American. And you were this officer, the first one, not the female. We cannot expect rationality from females. The idea that there's female officers is horrifying to a lot of females. We all know why. We're not going to go there today unless we must. So if you were to put yourself in the male's officer's position in the beginning, I mean, what would you have done? Would you have, and mind you, you've had the shittiest day now, Magic Box. I want to put you in the worst situation. I want you to put yourself there right now. You ain't had your tea. You didn't have lunch even, let alone a hot cup of tea. It's going on 2 hours past the time you should have checked out, and you get called on to this. But there's a citizen there saying, well, Officer Magic Bollocks, Constable Magic Bollocks, this is what would you do in this situation? What would a righteous man do in this situation?
Yeah, well, that's the question, isn't it? I'd like to think I would do my job, professionally and responsibly, and completely bipartisan, I suppose. I can't think of a better word at the moment. Because that's what is expected of you as a member of law enforcement. The thing is, the coppers I've always come across, there is always a certain level of ego about them because they know that they have a certain level of power, which is that they can, effectively take your freedom away from you if need be. And I mean, the ideal police force would be actual robots because there would be no emotions and no egos, nothing like that involved. It would just be you've broken the law, in the cuffs, in the cell, and then off to see the judge in the morning. But as long as you've got these sort of macho, self-opinionated types as police officers, and to be honest, that's the type that the job is attractive to because of the power side. You're always going to get coppers who will want to, they'll see someone, they don't like them, and they'll want to nick them on anything they can get them on. Even if it means slipping that little, bag of white powder into their back pocket, and it's like, oh, look what I've just found, sunshine. I'm not really what's called digging the old bill up here very well, but and I must admit,
but you're not putting them down either, because let's face it, if you and I, man, I'm just going to put it this way, and the whole world can kiss my ass, and if you completely disagree with this, Magic Bollocks, you say so, but felt you out a little bit, and I think we both know. So we're Bobbies. We've been on the same beat forever, and there's this dude, okay, that we've nicked many times, and he keeps doing his deal and doing his deal and doing his deal and doing his deal. And we know if we, I'm not going to say put some white powder, but we know if we fudge a wee bit, because I'm trying to take the side of the cops now too, because you're making a good case, man, that we can't be too hard on the cops either, is what you're saying. Because yes, I imagine they got many calls over this, many calls. I imagine they just wanted it to bloody go away. I want to be honest about that too. That's why I'm saying this. So what do, Magic Bollocks? We got this bloody bloke here, and we know he's done diddled a couple young girls that maybe not even illegal quite yet, but he's just that piece of garbage, you know, that's stinking up the whole block. I mean, you know, what do we do in that situation? Do we fudge it just a wee bit? And if so, should we assume that, and I know, because I mean, I can already hear you grumbling, so answer that question forthright and honest, if it's absolutely no, whatever. But, and am I being too rose-colored glasses and saying that we should leave that kind of power in men's hands?
It's an interesting idea, isn't it? How far would you be willing to go if you were that police officer to, you know, get the bad guy off the streets and into the jail cell he belongs? But unfortunately, you know, when you become a police officer, you take that oath to follow due process. Otherwise, where does the corruption end then? Because you fit some, you know, some criminal up, and yeah, he probably was a shitbag who was maybe a, you know, a kiddie fiddler or something worse than that. But if you do it once, what's to stop you doing it again? Next time it might be somebody you just take a dislike to, or maybe it'll be the bloke you end up finding out is actually, you know, banging your old girl while you're on night shift, and you end up fitting him up with something. You see,
and of course you tell your partner, well, he is a bad guy, he was banging my old lady. And what kind of slippery slope is what you're talking about if we go the route I was saying?
Well, very few people tend to do just the one bad thing and then stop and, you know, just let it, you know, and then go back to, you know, complete and utter within the rules. Well, I think once you've had a taste of it and got away with it, it's very difficult to go back. That's the problem. Not saying it can't be done. I'm sure some people might have, you know, have broken the rules just once and never gone back. But I would assume the reason they didn't go back was because they got caught and they got punished for it.
And we just got a little bit of a bump in our sales. We got, I wasn't going to say much about it tonight, but we actually did just get a super chat here, Magic Bollocks. And Magic Bollocks part of the crew now. I reckon once we get to our next, in fact, I already told you earlier, talk to Common Sense about it. I don't even really know. All I know is I'm waiting for what I'm about ready to talk about, Magic Bollocks. So Point Creation says he not only gives us £2, nice of him, very kind, very nice, very wonderful in this Yuletide season. We'll take every penny. We love it all. And the point he's making is, I don't want to assume your gender, this person is making, officer wanted to be Judge Judy and executioner. Well, I think that in a way, but I think I'm starting to also see Magic Bollocks' side of it. And it's tough for me, believe it, Magic, believe me. I could dig my heels. If it was someone, if someone other than you was making like a serious digging their heels point to the complete opposite, I would make my apologia. And funny, because I always say that, and that's this guy's church's name, because I like Latin, if I can remember it. And it's just an apologia means to make a reasonable argument over your point of view. And I love also words that are small or whatever, like the German words that, you know, Weltschmerz, which means the difference between the world it is and the world you would like it to be. Or what's that? Schadenfreude, which is a wonderful joy over someone else's misfortune. I love these words like this, where you can say one thing and it means something. So thank you so much. Man, I just derailed it again, but you know what? I'm a Jew. What do you want from me, Magic Bollocks? You're going to have to get used to it. Every time somebody throws us a shekel, I'm going to be like, whoa, look, a shekel. I'm going to run over there and pick it up and say something about it in hopes that other shekels will come our way. But that said, if and they just rob us with their user fee here at something to the effect of 12%. So they take 12 cents, so that's 24 cents they just took off of that. You know, and thank you, I guess, my overlords, for allowing us to humbly make a fine dollar while we dance for our dinner. But we'd also like to say maybe you could just take a penny from everybody, because that would be a lot of money for you. And it's, you know, so whatever. So I think we're at the point now where $2 more, maybe it might be, it's a little more than that. We were at 98 quid. And as soon as we get to 100 quid, I can transfer it. I can actually transfer it. And yes, those of you keeping tab, I am. I've got it written down. Common Senseguy, and I think when he said the number, fuck, well, look, I got it. No, I will say it was 50 quid. So add that. And I think when he got the number, I think that was after whatever transfer fees on his thing. So we're 150 quid. We got Magic Bollocks here right now as a regular person and a person named Shinobi Yaka. Both seem to have a little bit of inside information, whether it be about software, hardware. But maybe we're going to do our best, though. So everyone that does contribute, thank you so much. Someone else kick in 5 more quid tonight. We'll be over that thing, or sometime before Christmas, we'll be over that threshold, and I'll be able to. So there you go, man. Now I'm starting to. You know what? Now you're going to hear me, Magic Bollocks, because that's all the.
I was just going to point out
that sucking Satan's cock when I try to sell something to people. It makes me feel bad. What was that you were going to say?
I'm more interested in hearing about Satan's cock now.
Well, you didn't. Have you not? I mean, because if you think about it, there was a Bill Hicks. You don't know Bill Hicks was a great comedian.
Oh, I'm aware. Yeah, great comedian.
Yeah, and he used to say that I don't care if you shit Mona Lisas on cue. If you sell Doritos or Pepsi Cola or Audi cars, you are forever removed from the artistic roles forthwith. You are a sucker of Satan's cock. And then he goes in this diatribe where he's like, he's using the mic like it's, oh my good gracious, what a genius, right? But anyway, so I felt like I wasn't sucking it, but he was like waggling at it over there. And so I'm done selling. Yeah. Thank you so much.
He's only got a semi on at the moment, so it's not quite ready, is it? Yeah.
All right. So and we can say as well. What I like on this is whatever you're going to say, and because I was very adamant about this, I want you to tell us, please instruct us on how this could go better and how maybe we could improve on a personal level, not on a level where we're enacting any kind of, or talking about enacting any kind of policy, but how could this have gone better on both sides? So whatever you want to do, and then close us out on this, we'll move on to the next story.
Well, I wanted to say actually that Point Curation has actually donated twice tonight. He actually donated earlier on. I forgot to tell you. So that's actually $4 he's given you.
Oh, good gracious. And I'm a little off. That's awesome. So I might have to retract that. I think that will probably put us to the point now. Thank you so much, Point, where I'll be able to just transfer that over. But I'm really done talking about money. I'll pound it in. I mean, and y'all see, we've gotten, I think our highest donation was with you here, Magic Bollocks. You're like our new good luck charm. We got 25 quid one night. And I don't think I was any more flabbergasted over that than I was this. I did say holy shit and mention the number a couple of, but there, okay, boom. So what I'm saying is, at this festive time of the year, it would be good for all of us to hear from you. How could this have went better, mate? I mean, we could argue the ins and outs of, oh, he had a law and oh, well, the Bobby was there and whatever. But how could this have went better? What could we do to improve these kind of relationships when it's right there happening?
What you mean between sort of like this pastor and the police? How could it have been a little bit smoother, shall we say? Yes. I think maybe the police being a little bit more accepting of the protesters, and maybe on his part, a sort of an understanding that the police, like I said, I'm coming from somebody who's not their biggest fan, but even I will admit they do have a very hard job, especially these days, because of the fact their job is becoming so politicized. Most police officers, low-rank police officers who walk the beat, who go out and about, do the actual footwork, the arresting, the paperwork, all they want to do is their job. And all they're ever getting from their higher-ups is constant bureaucracy. I'm sure I wouldn't even want to think about the amount of paperwork the average police officer these days has to do, because so much has to be, it all has to be documented, and all these statements have to be taken because of the possibility they might not have followed a procedure. So the the arrested person's the accused solicitor might be able to get them off on a technicality. I understand why they do it, but at the same time, it's a stranglehold that's making their job difficult. So I don't know, Mr. Ogre. I think if the only way you'd ever really be able to tell was if you were in that situation yourself. And I'd like to think if I was a police officer, I would do my job to the best of my abilities. I would obviously allow them to do their protest as long as they stay within the confines of the law. From the point of view of the pastor, I'd like to think that I was protesting within the confines of the law and that I was complying with the police officer's request at the same time, not just being awkward for the sake of being awkward, but I'm talking about an ideal world where everybody does the right thing. And until we actually get there, yeah, you're never going to get the perfect outcome. It could, I mean, the end of that video could have actually been the police officer losing his rag and shooting him. I mean, that's what I would like to think it would. I mean, that's what I would like to. Yes. Yeah. And I'm only going on that from the American cop shows we occasionally get over here, where they'll run the car off the road and they'll start firing. Right. Where you'll get the British version, where the policeman will probably lose the suspect, or he'll
lose them. I watch that all the time, man, and I just love that. I mean, I'm sorry to break in there. I'll just finish up and I'll say I'll try to write down my ideas. I'm such a bulldog. I watch Alex Jones, and I never want to be that dickhead. Carry on, sir.
Yeah. No, it's actually quite funny when you compare the two. Your American ones are very entertaining, fast cars, police with guns, and then they'll say the perpetrator went down for 65 years with no parole, and then they'll get to the UK one where they say the perpetrator did not go down because the police officer forgot a vital bit of evidence, and it's always, or they went down for like 3 days or something. It's really pathetic. Yeah.
Well, it's not pathetic that they actually get a reasonable sentence. I mean, I see people there. Now, if they B&E, there's a serious thing, and it should be. They get years for that. But I mean, things here where, as you said, would be 15 years, like they're running from the cops in a stolen car. Now they get 6 months, and then 6 months probation. What are you going to do to these? What are you going to do? I mean, you got to make a choice: either punish them forever or not. So, if I may, a little bit deeper, just a tiny bit deeper on this, because this is so great to me, is when I consider the differences we're talking about now, it's at this level. And I think I was going to go to, oh, can't you see that the cop would have been the one escalating it if someone got shot? And I already know. I can see that you would have not only continued to say yes, but this could have been... I'm really trying to formulate this. Sorry about the stutter. So let me ask this question. I want it to be a good one. The databases. That's what it comes down to here. If this person could have been anonymous and yet told the officer his full name, let the officer run the name in a local way that would have vanished right away. Never even, in fact, it vanished, wasn't even there. They just look in a way that even where they're looking doesn't know. It's not like a hit on a website. They don't even know they looked, and just see, oh yeah, this person. But because I gotta say again, when your name is ran here, I don't care what it's for. Don't matter what. You're old and you fell and broke your rib, and the cops are there and they check your name. It's an incident that's marked out. Could it be that if these things were laxed up a little bit, that maybe us crazy Yanks would be a little less likely to do this kind of thing? Which I gotta admit, Magic Bollocks, the guy wouldn't even say his last name. It's his right, but it did seem a little rude. I'm just trying to put it. So there you go. If there was less of this, do you think that could help? Maybe if we had less of this databasing?
I don't know. Did you see Binary in the chat was just saying about if you had a situation like that, you'd end up with like what we had with the infamous Yorkshire Ripper, because the various forces weren't talking to each other. So a lot of his crimes were being missed by different regions in Yorkshire where he was killing these women. I can see your point, because of the fact that sometimes there can be too much information on you, and it can almost make life so difficult for someone that the only option they end up with is to turn to crime to, you know, to survive. You know, 'cause I'm not a big fan of the state having too much information on you. You know, they'll always know certain things, but you know, it's those little. I mean, these days, if you're, I think if you're arrested in this country, and someone in the chat correct me if I'm wrong, that they can take a sample of your DNA, you can be fingerprinted, and all this information isn't automatically taken off their database if you're then let go.
Oh no, they store
and the
it
charges
forever.
are dropped. Yeah, they keep it all, and I don't like the fact that they can have that information even if you are an innocent person. It's the it's the assumption that you must be guilty of something, or you will be at some point in the future.
No, I was carjacked, beaten, and left for dead in a ditch. To make a long story short, they had to match my blood or my DNA with the DNA on my suit jacket that was, you know, part of the crime scene. And I gave him my DNA with my lawyer there and said, I'm only giving you my DNA to use for this. I want it completely closed. I want all the file. No, not only did they say no, they said because I said no, then you can see it's my blood. That's my jacket. You can see by the pictures that came from me, or some of it might be theirs, but you're not getting my DNA. You wouldn't have needed it 50 years ago. You would have said that was my blood. And they threatened me I gave it to them under duress of going to jail for 90 days for contempt of court. And it took them 2 months to get DNA from me to give them. So that's why I'm playing devil's advocate here, because I'm telling you right now, Magic Bollocks, I'm that dude 200 years ago here in this same country I live in now, that when a local sheriff says, what's your name? I say, none of your business. And when he says, I said, give me your name, I'm the sheriff. I said, well, you didn't give me any reason to make it your business. Ask me again. I'm going to assume that it is a threat, and I'll shoot you if you don't shoot me first. And yeah, to English, to everybody around the world, they hear that scenario that I just calmly, yes, and that's how it would have went down. And yes, many a dipshit sheriff was shot down, and many a foolish person that didn't want to give their name was shot down. But all of this idea that cops had this right wasn't there. That this didn't happen is what I'm saying. Because if someone said, I don't want to give you my name, you didn't get it. The idea of some public safety, and we got some other stories here too. I said I'd let you have the last word, so I'll go ahead and let you do that, no matter how short or long it will be. And we will, honest to God, close the story. It's important to me, if no one else. So what do you got to say, Magic Bollocks?
Probably if you're gonna protest, don't piss off the police. And if you are the police, don't piss off the protesters. That way we can all live together in peace and harmony.
Man.
Yeah,
isn't
right.
that so true? Oh, so I had a story up here. And story number 2 is about trees making people sick. Go ahead and read that on your own. I kind of want to talk to Magic Bollocks, since we're on this idea of treating each other, you know, halfway decent, and kind of having a heart for what may not always be the law, but for sometimes what is just, I don't know, polite and intelligent. Man, I seen this story here. I had to pick it out, Magic Bollocks. Apparently, Eminem, the rapper, I don't know, for as far as I know, you have no idea who he is. I don't know why on earth you would. He's just some white guy that got involved in a ethnocentric genre known as rap, and for some reason or another became famous. God knows, I can't tell you why to this day he ever became that way, and I think it's a travesty that many a good artist didn't while he did, but there's the truth. So he is a rap artist that happens to be white. And he did this rap thing. Did you see the rap thing he did in the car at all? Did you see that?
By any chance, is that the one where he's basically riffing, slagging off Trump?
Yes. Yeah. So you did see that.
Okay, I have. Well, I've seen it through many YouTube videos of people basically slagging him off, and quite rightly so.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I mean, I'm not here to believe me, I'm not here to stick up for Trump. There ain't no way about that, or anyone else. I mean, sometimes I stick up for Trump, sometimes I don't. I'm just going to say that in this case, we see Eminem came out, he did this whole deal, and now finally, I guess Donald Trump Jr. responded to him. This is the point, Magic Bollocks. Couldn't us here in the United States, couldn't our commander-in-chief learn a little something from this? Can't he see, couldn't we all learn that sometimes to not respond to something gives you a lot more power than breaking out the Twitter and tweeting out anything that ever rubs you the wrong way whatsoever? That was the whole point of this.
Well, I think we all know now that Donald Trump's ego is even bigger than that pastor's balls. He really, his motivation, I think, is he wants to be liked by everybody. And when somebody doesn't like him, he has to respond. It's in his nature to do so. I mean, a lot of people have said that he's playing 4D chess with a lot of people. And I haven't made my mind up yet whether or not he is, or whether his ego is just getting the better of him. But as Shinobi said, I like the guy because he's pissing off all the people I don't like as well. And anybody who can do that gets my kudos.
Well, I'm going to use this a little bit to give you a chance to just springboard. Since you're new here, and we know you're very open, man. You told us a lot about yourself that we won't reiterate now. If you care to go watch, like I think it was one of his second broadcast. It's one of his first here. Man, the guy tells you a lot about himself. Go find out a little bit about. So what I'm saying, so who pisses you off and why? And I mean it. You know what I'm saying too. Who pisses you off in this world that's in power and why?
That's a very good question, Mr. Ogre.
Yeah, and we'll stick with the story, folks. For you listening, just listen to what Magic Bollocks says here. He's obviously thinking, and he'll tell us. He's just, my mama used to tell me, the best mills grind slow, but exceedingly fine. So if you want a really good answer from somebody, don't ask the person that will just right off the cuff go, oh, here, blah, blah, blah. Like maybe me sometimes, but look for the person that will actually say, you know what? That's a good question. So hopefully that was enough filibuster to give you a chance to answer it there, Magic Bollocks. Who is it that pisses you off nowadays, and why? I've got a story here later that I know is going to piss you off from one of your people. But what's going on here?
I suppose I dislike most people who aren't true to their initial beliefs. I mean, one person I absolutely despise is Hillary Clinton, because she is almost like the modern equivalent of corruption personified, because you know that she will do anything for the shekel, and she will flip-flop on policy, flip-flop on anything if it will give her power and money. Not to say that probably 95% of Congress aren't exactly the same, but it's the sheer blatantness of it. And I still can't believe that the DNC forwarded that woman as their candidate. Because how could they not know how loathed and just despised she was by so many people? But that's the incredible thing about our establishment these days. I think it's either they don't know or they generally don't care. They just think these idiots will vote for us regardless of what we do. She could have been stabbing a newborn baby in front of millions of people on live TV, and they still vote.
So you got one
because...
pattern on this side and one pattern on the other side, and in your mind, I'm not even going to lead you. I'll tell you if I agree with you later on. I probably so, but and it doesn't matter to them really. What they're saying at base doesn't really matter. They're just saying that because, like you said, they'll stab babies.
Yeah, well, if it makes them lots of money, yeah. Not to say she's the only one. I'm sure there's plenty of other people who'd happily sacrifice kids on TV to make money.
Well, look at that one guy, David Cameron. He humped a pig's face. He put his phallus in a pig's mouth and simulated oral copulation with a hog in front of some people to be part of their crew. I'm assuming that once you're willing to do that, Magic Bollocks, all bets are off.
No, it was fine. He once upon a time fucked a pig's head, and then he became prime minister and fucked the country. So, you know. Yeah.
Right. So which is worse, right? That's what I'm saying. So this is the caliber of people we're dealing with. And yeah, there's many that will say, well, really, Mr. Ogre, are you willing to put your life and your word on the line, sir? No, not really. And I know that the tell-all that came out about that was from a lord, I believe, or an earl that was, you know, he was writing a book. But why would he say that? I mean, I've seen interviews with the guy. He wasn't joking. He said, yeah, this happened. But anyway, and so if you can, carry on, why should we tolerate, or is there anything we can do? I mean, is it a situation, not to fully tie it back into the cop thing, but is it just another situation where we have to look as logical men, Magic Bollocks, and come together with reason and logic and say, well, this is the world we live in. These are the rules and the parameters of the game. And we will endeavor to make our score and strike our blow when we can.
Pretty much. It's human nature to get what you can for yourself. And the only time in this world we'll be free from corruption is when the prophecy of the Terminator franchise comes true and the entire human race has been wiped out and replaced by machines, because they're the only things, that can be completely immune to corruption. There is no perfect person you could ever put into power, and they often say that the ideal person to lead a country is someone who doesn't want it. I mean, it was it George Washington who refused to stand for a second term because he knew
a third.
Yeah. Third term. Yes. Sorry, yeah, because he knew that power corrupts, and he didn't want that. He didn't want to be a man who could go for a third term and potentially become, you know, effectively a bad person, somebody who could be tempted by bribery or any other form of illegal activity. And that's admirable. I mean, I've only got to look at the absolute shower of shite that is our current members of parliament in this country. It's honestly, it's embarrassing. And they are a product of a two-party system. Okay, we have more than two parties in this country, but there's only two parties that can realistically get elected as the governing party of the country. But you can tell that they're mostly people of the machine, and the machine tells them what they must say and how they must act. They mustn't say anything too controversial. They have a certain dogma that they must stick to, which is that you must never say anything bad against ethnic minorities or feminism or any other ism these days. And I don't want that. I want people who are going to run on a platform that's going to appeal to the average person, which is why I think the whole idea of political parties is now an outdated concept. We really should be having just individuals standing for power and then being forced to work together with everyone else to come up with a way of governing the country properly. Because the other problem with political parties, as you well know in the States, with the DNC and the GOP, is not political, not corporate sponsorship. What's the right word? Donations, political donations, and
come on, like lobbyists.
Lobbying, that's the word. Thank you, Mr.
Yes,
Ogre.
lobbyists, yes, sir.
And I mean, obviously, we have that in this country as well. Donations, they call it, donators to a political party. Do corporations really donate millions and millions of pounds and dollars to political parties and expect nothing in return? Do they really think just like a charity?
Of course not, man. It's crazy, or they wouldn't do it. In fact, I think they're all tax deductible, but there's not enough tax deduction to explain all that. And hold your placemat there, please. Don't forget what you're saying. Remember the last words you were going to say, and pick up right there. Point creation. Once again, he's just insisting. It's £6 he's giving us this. I feel like I need to get up and tap dance now, like good old soft shoe and Sambo. But here we go. He says, I understand some wanted to be Washington as king. And yes, though we've moved on from that point a little bit, they did. They asked him to be king. He said no. After his second term, he set a precedence that only Teddy Roosevelt was really willing to try to break. And we have had one other president. Someone please help me. Was it, oh, goodness gracious. We have had one other president do 3 terms. I want to say it was Ike. I like Ike, but it may not have been. So that said, Magic Bollocks, hopefully you know where you were. Yes, they wanted to be king. Didn't work out. We've got a lot of other great comments. I think after this, because Magic Bollocks likes it so much, if you have been perusing the chat out here, Magic, and there was anything that someone said that rung a bell, I'd like you to answer those when you're finished with your thought. And if not, I will throw a couple at you. We've really got some people out here doing their diligence today.
Well, I would make a suggestion to anybody in the chat. Is anybody who does a super chat, no matter how small, I guarantee I will answer your question no matter how ridiculous.
There you go. And so far, I got to back him up. He's been nothing. I've only known him for about 2 weeks now, but I've got to say he's been nothing but a very honest, forthright man. So if you care to know anything, I think the lowest you can do is a quid. It's pretty cheap to know a man's deepest, darkest secrets. I'm not sure I would have done that on the internet. You got the biggest balls now, not the preacher. So anyway, and we're going to go on from this a little bit. I just would say that I want Trump to learn from this. I'm not a good example. I'll get petty, I'll get in spats. I don't even mind it when my mates do it, and I've run with some circles on Twitter. That's why I told you, Magic Box, like, don't get on Twitter, because I have a feeling and it'd be one more wolf in there with all the sheep anyway. And you start to see this stuff, and pretty soon you don't realize that you're even commenting. Your fingers are doing it, and you may be looking at internet porn or some beautiful landscapes from the Bavarian coast or whatever. There's no coast in Bavaria. Whatever you may be looking at, but your finger and there you see this stuff people are saying, and you have to respond to it. It's a cesspool out there, mate. What is allowed, and that's what bummed me out about all of this stuff. But I hope that Trump learns that. Come on, man. I had 50 stories today, and just like usual, I had to go, no, everybody will think I'm kissing Trump's ass. No, because look, I got the Trump button. My hat's got, whatever. I voted for the guy, and whatever. So I don't want to be like his butt boy. I'm not here to service him after a latrine visit. I wish that he would learn that he has the presidential podium, Magic Bollocks. He has the largest bully pulpit that I can consider on earth. It's time that you don't answer everything with a tweet. Make it the big things. Why not just shoot out a tweet once in a while that simply says, I love being president. I hope you all are doing well. You can find a few of them, but why not do that for the most part? And I don't know. If you have any last on this, or if you got anything else, this is what it was about. But as it always will be, Magic Bollocks, we'll have these stories, and it will take us on tangents, and we'll say whatever the fuck we want to say. Why? Because we're grown men, and that's what we do. That's what grown men do. But couldn't he learn something from this? Isn't it more powerful sometimes to maybe just, and I hate to tie it back into this, but you made some good points. Isn't it sometimes a little bit wiser to just give your name, to just not make the tweet, to hold your peace? Is silence sometimes more powerful than noise?
I think you could be right, but what stops him just being like Obama then? Another just atypical, you know, follow the rule book kind of president. That's the one thing I will give Trump. He is totally different to all his predecessors in the way he's going about his business. And you can only be that way with his background. This is how he's, you know, done business for so long. And I know some people hate him because of the fact he's a businessman, but after what we've had continuously for the last, what, 30, 40 years, it's nice to try something a little different. I mean, my understanding of how it works in America is that if you've got the money, anybody, even you, Mr. Ogre, if you had the money, could run for president if you wanted to. And I like that. The very idea that any man or woman born on American soil has the right to become leader of the free world if he has the means to do so. If I wanted to be prime minister of this country, it's not that simple, because of the fact I would need to be the leader of one of the political parties. I couldn't just put myself up as a contender to be prime minister. But, you know, I mean, there are things that I will always grant our former colonial partners do better than us. And the biggest one at the moment, of course, is the First Amendment. The guarantee that you have, by law, the freedom to say whatever you like. The fact that you have, I mean, I don't know, you obviously have politicians over there talking about hate speech.
Oh, Lord,
but the difference between you and us, is the fact we have it now enshrined in law. And that's frightening.
Oh, no, we have it in law. They just passed a law out in California that says if you misgender the elderly, that you, I don't, and they're very ambiguous, but apparently there's some magical time when you do it enough to where they fine you 30, 40,000 quid and put you in jail for a year. And in the city of New York, there's a law that says if you misgender, in other words, if you say, "How you doing, ma'am?" and this person that looks like a female already told you they were transitioning, but you've got 10,000 other people, and that might be a large number. Let's just be realistic. You've got 20 other people that rent from you, and you'd forgotten because it looks like a female and said, "Ma'am, no, that's $100,000 fine." And in a lot of these cases in New York already, people are losing their property because someone said they misgendered me, and then they have to disprove a negative. It's very difficult to do that. That's why we are usually here considered innocent until proven guilty, but that's only if you're charged with a crime. Criminal, if it's a misdemeanor. In fact, misdemeanors sometimes don't go for, but yeah, but I'm saying this wrong. Civil, sorry, misdemeanor would also be criminal. So, but if it's a civil crime, no, you no longer. Now it's a preponderance of the evidence, and for anyone that knows the difference, no. There's no way, no one here listening to me, I don't care how lily white or good you think you are, wants to defend themselves based on a preponderance of the evidence, because I could just say, where were you last night? And if you can't prove you were somewhere else, I could say, well, there was someone murdered over here and you could have been there. So boom. I mean, it's honestly, a preponderance of evidence is very vague. I shouldn't say vague. It just leaves a lot of the onus on the person being accused. And the assumption is that they're guilty. So First Amendment, we don't have it here anymore. I believe that it is the place on earth where we have it the most, and it is the only place I know of where that right is allegedly enshrined in the Constitution of that country. I'll also say we have the Fourth Amendment, Magic Bollocks, which is the right to feel safe and secure in your person, property, effects, and papers. And no, I don't have anything pulled up with the amendments. I just know my rights. And that's why this pastor or anyone else in the United States, whether they're driving with a light out in their car, which is not a criminal offense, or their seatbelt off, no. If the officer wants to pull you over and even give you a ticket under the name you give him, that's fine. But at that time, the officer does not have the right to ask you your name. They don't have the right to run your criminal record for what, a traffic violation. And look, I do that. I don't know what else to say on this point, because I'll go on. You'll start hearing like music in the background, fireworks and stuff, and it's like, you know, please be patriotic and love freedom. But there's not much you can do. And if you can MC while Magic Box is ready to say his next piece, we might do a story or two. I'm just looking right now. Magic Box is 5:15. We've got a little bit of time left, but I know that you've got some stuff to do. My goal right now, as it stands, is to be giving our final words at about about 30 till next hour. That way we got plenty of time. And like I said, you know what? I really appreciate you being here, but we always want this to be fun. And I think not just me, but everyone wants you here as often as you can be here. And if we keep it succinct, we keep it fun, we keep it interesting, we keep it on the edge, it'll always be there.
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Ogre. Could you just give me 5 minutes? I'll be right back.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me filibuster a little longer. When I think of the price of freedom, oh, man, come on. What is the price of freedom? What would a human being give for their liberty? What is it that's too much to ask for freedom of expression, freedom of movement, freedom of the press, of course, freedom of speech? When is it that we start to band together as a society and say these rights and these ideals have been trampled to the point that we won't have anymore? We don't want anymore. We won't take anymore. This is where we stand, and we won't back up anymore. For me, it's now. I was nervous about the first story that we brung up. And why? Because I don't want any trouble with the police. I know police around here. They're my friends. But things are getting out of hand. And MCJK, if you were talking about that, about the media setting the agenda for that, which I highly doubt you were, I just would like to know what you meant by that and how I could change that. I mean, where do we get our news? It's so difficult to, you know, you got very little choice. You either get your news or you don't get your news. And so I get it. I try to get it from, you know, good spots. I go to different places. I have all these different resources that I reach out to. Oh, there we go. There he's back. And look, I'll stop filibustering right now. That was literally just a blowhard off the cuff. So if you're ready to pick up where you were, you can rock and roll, Magic Bollocks. And you all know where he was. I was just talking about, oh, he's gone. He's gone. Oh, and we'll see. Maybe he'll come back. I'm sure he will. Who knows, man? It's been a heck of a night. I would like to say this as I went on my little diatribe there. Das Ogre, Das Base Tarp, Kakla. I don't know why you don't have a wrench. Here's a wrench. Have a wrench, sir. We all get wrenches here. It's so that you can post anything that you'd like if you want to leave a link. And there's so many people, and that's what happened at the beginning. It's like people say, oh, I want to post a link and I can't post a link. And you know, they send it to me and whatever. So now if you're here, I see you, you don't have a wrench, you get one. That's why you notice, if you look, everyone here is a moderator. And I would say that, in fact, as far as I know, I'm the only one that's not hypocritical in that sense. Everybody talks about freedom of speech, and then they have mods and they kick them out. You know, they take them out if they do something. And we might talk about this at another time. But again, I was just filibustering Magic Bollocks. If you knew where you was at and you're ready to pick right back up, I'll let you do that. But I'm not putting you on the spot for that. We can move on to the next story like nothing happened and just pick it up from there, baby.
No, well done for keeping the show going there, Mr. Ogre. My headphones died.
Oh, you got Bluetooth like mine.
Yeah, I couldn't hear a damn thing, so I was trying to lip read. Yeah.
So yours don't do the your Bluetooth is about to die. What does mine say? I'm thinking about that old movie that old video game Gauntlet. Your warrior's about to die. Yeah, but by Bluetooth, they'll say, oh, battery low. It says battery, and of course, and it's like battery low.
No, mine just goes beep and then dies, which doesn't help.
Oh, it don't help. Oh, but that was very quick anyway. And yeah, of course. So hopefully if you didn't remember where you were, because we were all listening, and you know what, bro, you'll be here, but you'll get your opinion. You carry on where you were, and everybody knows how I feel about freedom and liberty and stuff. I'll tell you all about another time.
Well, I said anybody who doesn't believe in freedom and liberty should very much go to a communist country right now and be prepared to be shot.
Yeah. Yeah, sir. Yeah, that's what would happen. One day you had to, do you know Nachi Free? You've never been on with him, I don't think, here, but do you know who Nachi Free is?
I do know a little bit about Nachi. Isn't he also a distinguished artist as well?
Oh yeah, he did the art that I mean, if I just do this very quickly, if I can, this one right here is by Nachi. A lot of my avatars are, and as I always say, no, folks, he did not give this to me out of the kindness of his heart. He's not that kind of artist. With all due respect for the artists that are, because I have some art up, I think, no, maybe not right here, but people have given me. But he does, I mean, he doesn't just draw stuff. He did this art also. This is also Nachi Free. The Britisher retouched it because he's got big Dumbo ears. And so he used the excuse that his hat would shade the top of his ears. But in fact, of point, he would be able to fly if it wasn't for that helmet. But he did this beautiful art. I will say, and the point of that is, I mean, if you look at this one as a caricature, and oh shoot, I don't have, now I'll seem like a dick, but I don't have the one of me that is a very realistic likeness right here. Oh wait, or can I do that? Nah, I don't know. Anyway, I've got it. And man, I've got a tooth. In fact, look, I can just do this. So you all know I'm self-deprecating Jew like I should be. I got a tooth right here that's dark. And then this one sits back and is dark. When I smile and my teeth ain't straight, they're crooked. Man, Nachi Free. If you want a portrait, he's going to give you a portrait. He's going to warts and all, as the Romans would say, warts and all. He was not going to make you look pretty. Not going to make you look ugly either, but the bits about you. So bam, there you go. I want to have him on because it's funny, Magic Bollocks. I don't have a story to go with this, so I'm just going to go into the next story if we've beaten this last one up a little bit, because I got to get you on this. I've been filibustering and sticking on some of these for a while, and please, folks, I love say it flat out, I love Common Sense. So think good thoughts toward him and send him little things on Twitter if you're on there and tell him you hope everything's all right, because I don't. This is very unusual. This would be the first time. So something, I'm not even gonna lie to y'all, something's happened, whether it's good or bad. But because this is the first time where it's like not been here, but I didn't get a tweet. So maybe it's, who knows? I don't want to speculate because I'm crazy and I'll start to think the worst, like he's dead under a bus somewhere or something. So surely he's not. Right? He's not. He's alive and well. He's alive and well, and he's fine. But okay, so that said, I tried to put this off a little bit. Magic Box is like, holy shit, mate, pull it together. Let's get on with the show. I am wondering, and I'm hoping the best for him. It's out there. It's public knowledge, but I'm not a very sensitive guy, Magic Bollocks. So I'm not gonna. And what I mean by that, also, maybe I am sensitive because I'm not going to say the things that he has up in videos that I know is going on, that I even talked with you about before the show. I'm not going to. I don't think it would be very British for me to mention anything that could be, would it be? I mean, it's best for me to just now shut up and move on. Oh, so I will do to you what I do to him often. Was there a story that you saw before I picked the one I want that that really tickled you and that you wanted to cover right now, Magic Box?
I haven't really been looking, to be honest, Mr. Ogre.
That's good. That's perfect.
Unfortunately, considering it's my last week of work for 3 weeks, I was hoping to have a nice quiet rundown, and unfortunately they've decided to ramp everything up. So the last few days I've been incredibly busy. And I'm the type of person, I can't sit still for very long doing the same job. I get bored easily, so I do tend to stop and occasionally look at various websites that I procure, just to see on the off chance I might have missed something entertaining. And I haven't really seen a lot lately. I always look for amusing, funny things, just even if it's ridiculously daft, because that's the kind of thing I thrive on. I think in life, even though the average life expectancy of a person now is about 70 years. It's never enough time to get enough laughter in. I don't think we take things far too seriously these days. So any bit of tomfoolery I can find, I savor.
This might help you on that vein then, and I'm sure he'll have plenty of stuff. He's already given us so much. So do you know who Michael Gove is?
I do. He is our, I should know this. I can't remember.
He's a bloody politician. Is what
he is. I'm trying to think of what his position in the cabinet is. I can't remember, but he used to be education minister, and I know that because a lot of teachers in this country absolutely despised him because he was trying to modernize.
I think now he's like the minister of hugging trees or something to that effect.
Environment secretary or something.
Maybe, and I could be wrong, but here we go. This is the story, and you'll love this, man, because we get to kick this guy around a little bit. I hope. Michael Gove pictured with a throwaway cup after promising to crack down on plastic pollution, and you see he's got the throwaway styrofoam with plastic lid cup there. And this is the guy. Let me just read a little bit this here, and I'm going to cut Magic Bollocks. Magic Bollocks, you'll definitely be the knowledgeable party. And see, we were talking before, and it's always that, man. It's the before I know it, I'm trying to sound smart, and I sound like a bloody seal clapping his freaking flippers right here. So let me try to act like I got some sense. So this will be something that you will be able to speak to much more intelligently than I will be able to. So here we go. Michael Gove has been holding a throwaway coffee cup after pledging to cut the use of throwaway plastics. The Environment Secretary arrived for the cabinet meeting yesterday holding a print Christmas cup with a plastic lid. Most of these cups cannot be recycled because of their plastic lining. Pret encourages users to bring their own cups. What is that? P-R-E-T. If somebody tell me, I don't know. Encourages, so it must be this meeting they were going to. Encourages users to bring their own, or it's a coffee place. What is Pret?
I honestly don't know. I haven't heard of it myself.
Yeah, holding a Pret cup, so we don't. It makes me feel better that stunned me, but the British gentleman
must be the actual coffee shop he got it from.
Right.
Yeah.
So it says they encourage its users to bring their own cups and offers a 20p discount for those that do, not a small amount. The Telegraph has contracted a representative for Michael Gove for this comment. Sue Hyman, what a name. I know it's Heyman, but let's all laugh. Sue Hyman, Labor's shadow environment secretary, told The Sun, it's clear that what Michael Gove says and what Michael Gove does on the environment are two different things. Now a quote on Twitter, as we were speaking before, not wise for these muckamucks, I would say. Okay for us little fries, but the muckamucks, maybe they should think before they tweet. Still haunted by last night's hashtag Blue Planet 2. The imperative to do more to tackle plastic in our oceans is clear. We at DefraGov UK will work urgently to identify further action. Here again is this gentleman, Michael Gove, with his cup in his hand. And I just finished this out. It's very short. The government is examining plans to introduce new levies on plastic. The Chancellor said last month Britain should lead the world in tackling the scourge of plastic in the oceans and promised to investigate how changes could reduce waste. Mr. Gove announced a crackdown on waste after being haunted by nature documentary Blue Planet, which showed aquatic wildlife struggling with plastic pollution. After Blue Planet, and you know what? I'll leave it there because I thought that ended right there, but it goes on, and I'll just leave it at that. So, come on, open us up with this. What do we think about this, Magic Bollocks, this story?
Sort of low-hanging fruit, I think, is the best way to describe it, isn't it?
I'll agree, yes.
Because of the very
story, I'll agree, it's low-hanging fruit.
That is very much a slow news day if they're taking a picture of him with a fucking plastic cup and saying, oh, as environmental minister, you're not showing a very good example. So, I mean, if they catch him wiping his arse and not using recycled toilet paper, I suppose that's what's called going against his job title as well, is it? I mean, and what I love as well is that quote from old Hyman. She has the cheek to accuse another MP of, you know, do as I say, not as I do. That's the definition of a fucking MP. So, honestly, that there's got to be one of the most pointless articles I think they've ever written, The Telegraph. And it just goes to show that a publication that once a long time ago, a very long time ago, had very much respect among the chattering classes. Now it's just another piece of clickbait rubbish, basically.
Man, I'm going to prod you a little bit on this just so we can get our little bit of time on. In fact, you know what? We ain't got much time on this story. I got one more before we're going to give our last words, and I just looked at the time. So I think, actually, to be perfectly honest, that was a great way to cancel that out. You know, and I look for British stories. I just thought it was funny, and I thought maybe it was a little bit of hypocrisy on his part. But now I got to kind of now that you said it that way, I have to completely side with you and say that no, even if an environment. That's
well, can you imagine, Mr. Ogre, somebody who sells PCs? And somebody takes a photograph of him using an iPad. Does that mean then he's actually now not doing as his job description entails? Like, you should be using a PC at all times, even outside of work, because you sell PCs. We caught you on an Apple iPad. That goes completely against what your job's about. Oh, fuck right off. This is
well, in the early 90s, a gentleman was hired by the Coors Brewing Company to be their head of promotions, their head of marketing research and promotions. And the night that he was hired, there was a big gala and a party, not just for him, but for like 5 or 6 other people that got promoted. And in his case, he did not work for Coors before this, but other people that got promoted and appointed to big positions. That night, he was photographed with a Heineken beer in his hand. The next day, what do you think happened?
Sacked.
He was sacked. Yeah, he was called in by Adolphus Coors' great grandson. I want to say it was his great grandson, and he called him in there. There was a huge picture on the wall from a projector of that guy with the Heineken, and they apparently he just wanted to turn around and go back, but leave. But the guy said no, and they gave him a severance package, but they just let him know, no, if you're the head. And so that's my stupid little point on that is, yeah. I get you, man. I get you, mate. But if you're going, because we know how these environmentalists are, Magic Bollocks. So if you're going to be this way, if you're going to find magics in my local mart for selling, you know, and you're going to make it hard for them because this is what's on the market now, well, then be realistic and show, either don't hurt them for that because you know that you're using them too because that's what's on the market, or, you know, be exposed as a hypocrite. So I've got to go to this now, unless you've got one more thing to say on that. That was very funny, and I'll tell you what, that was a direction. That's why you're here, Magic Bollocks. You think of things that I know Common Sense Guy wouldn't have went that route either. You have a perspective that we need and we all love. Well, hey, just very quickly, just because I like this guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not just trying to blow sunshine up his ass. If you dig Magic Bollocks and you think that he is good in this seat, that this is a place where he belongs, just hit the 1. If you think he's a bloody moron and should go fuck himself, hit 2. go carry on, Magic Bollocks. As I put him under that straight, I can hear it click. He's probably going to see. Look, there's how Magic Bollocks says 2. Oh man, you made me choke. You made me choke a little bit there. I laughed so loud I inhaled a little spittle. So you see that we got, actually, Mose I think is going to be the most honest. He says 1 and 2. Magic Bollocks, you're the only one that's even being kind of funny. Magic Bollocks says sack the prick. All right, so let's move on. No, we're good. And you can see here, sir. You can look out there and you can see all the ones.
I was going to say, Mr. Ogre, just one more example. It would have been when Bill Gates, I don't know if this was before or after he actually stepped down as the CEO of Microsoft, his children were banned from using any other mobile products other than Microsoft's own, which would have been at the time the Lumias, which of course were made by Nokia. And the reason why, he even admitted to his children that the product was inferior to the competition, but they knew if his children was photographed with an Apple product or an Android product, the amount of corporate damage it could possibly do to their own brand. And I can understand it, but it is a little bit petty, isn't it, really?
Kind of, but when you think that these kids can get Apple's best products for nothing, they don't have to pay a dime for them, and they're best stuff that they're not even totally releasing to the public yet. They've got everything, the lightest, the best, and they're better, man. Oh, my iPod Touch is in the back room, but I'm struggling right now because it's hard for me to consider giving up 900 quid for an iPad. It really is, mate. It's very hard. Knowing that I can get a tablet for $450 that's, they would say, is the equivalent of that $1,000, but it's not, man. They're so good. That's the problem. And I'm also saying that 2 years ago, because I haven't bought any of their products. When I used to buy their products, they were still aluminum cased, everything, and metal and glass. They were really, really nice. So I don't know if that's the way it is. And I've got to get on this too, Magic Box, because I know you've got stuff to do. I will not impose on you tonight. And in fact, I'm going to have you give the final word. I hope to time this so that when you give the final word, you just say, "God save the Queen," and can go about your business. And I can give my final word without you feeling obligated to just sit here. You can always listen to it tomorrow. So I'm trying to time this really good. And I know, mate, what do we care about my old lady or your old lady? Well, in the end, anything we can do to make everything smooth, shit. It just ensures that all the ones I saw keep getting pressed ones, because, at this point, you're very new, but I don't know, no pressure, but I need you, man. I need you, baby. I need you. The show will collapse without you, so we need you. So I was looking here, and what I did was, for this, people ask me often, in fact, I think you asked me just recently, Magic Box, how I get my news. This particular one, I didn't just go to Drudge Report. I go to the front page, UK News. There's a little button you can click on Drudge. It's usually down the bottom left. After the stories, you'll see like there's lines and different stuff, and there'll be something that says front page UK News, and it will be the front page of different publications. This is from the Telegraph. So, and I'm going to try to be fairly quick with this. And once again, Magic Bollocks, not to impose, but this is why you're here. I do a lot of stuff from the UK, and as much as I want to believe that I know every fucking thing, I'm not stupid. I don't. I know nothing. And I really don't know anything about your country, no matter what I think I know. So, from the Telegraph today, Scotland Yard reviews all ongoing rape cases after second trial involving same officer collapses as evidence, and this is in single quotes, evidence withheld. So everybody knows single quotes means that's an idea, not a direct quote. Evidence withheld. So this is by Martin Evans, crime correspondent from the Telegraph, the 20th of December, 2017. Scotland Yard has announced a review of all current rape and sex abuse investigations after second trial collapsed in less than a week amid claims that police withheld crucial evidence. Isaac Ittery, 25, has been charged with the rape of a child, but the case was thrown out on Tuesday after concerns were raised over the failure of detectives to disclose vital material to prosecutors and the defense. Just days ago, 22-year-old Liam Allen had his case thrown out when it emerged that police had failed to disclose thousands of text messages that would have proven his innocence. It has since emerged that it was the same Scotland Yard detective who had worked both cases, Detective Constable Mark Azaria, 37, who works on the Met's Special Rape and Sex Abuse Unit, is still on full active duty. This gentleman's still working. But the collapse of two cases in similar circumstances in a matter of days has prompted senior officers to launch a review of every line rape case currently being investigated by the force. There are warnings that police are making basic errors in their desperation to improve conviction rates in sex abuse cases. Please hear this. And I'm just 2 more paragraphs. I'm going to turn it right over to you here, sir. But we see this. There are warnings that police are making basic errors in their desperation. I want to delve into why would there be this desperation to improve conviction rates in sex abuse cases. Currently, 11.2% of rape allegations result in a conviction. They are saying, and this is it. I won't even go on to the next one because it may seem like I'm beating up on a particular constable or something else, magic bollocks. But first, before I lead you here, this will be my first question. Do you have any ideas on this story, or what are your thoughts on this before I start giving you questions?
Well, this is one of the stories I have actually been reading up on because one of the websites I frequent that has actually been talking about it. And I like the fact they're trying to make out that it was, just mistakes. It wasn't. This is deliberate. The CPS have been doing it for ages now, and it's fucking disgusting. The fact that they are willing to convict potentially innocent men, all in the name of supposedly sending rapists down, and you damn well know where this is coming from, and it's feminist ideology that if a man is accused of rape, that automatically means he's guilty, and really he should just go straight to prison and bollocks to whether there's actually any evidence.
Oh, I wasn't trying to break in. Carry on if you weren't done. If you're done, I've got a question for you. But
no, fire away.
I usually mute myself because sometimes it's good. I'll unmute myself when I get a good laugh because I want people to know I'm laughing. But I'm the kind of guy, as you just heard, that'll be back here going, R, matey, R, because I'm agreeing with what's being said.
No, not at all, Mr. Rogue. If you want to laugh out loud and what's called, agree, please do.
Well, this shit's getting deep. Is it possible that we're already seeing in this case the pendulum swinging so far? Why is it that they're not just saying that, 11.2% conviction rate, that's high. Here in the United States, it's only 2.3%. And they pointed that, look at no, if we listened and believed, there'd be 98%, 97.7 to 0.8% more convictions on rape. And some of the 2.2 or 2.3 are innocent, folks. It's not, look, it's one of the oldest scams. It's why the pendulum was so far on the other side 60 years ago, even in my lifetime. I'm going to go so far as to say 1978, if you got raped by an adult when I was a kid, because I know some I wasn't unfortunate like that, but I had family members that I know what was going on, but it didn't matter that us kids knew what was going on. And there was no cameras. I'm just telling you that things were different back then. But they're not now. They're not now. Now, if it comes out, but for this is my point. I'm pointing this out because I was on Honey Badgers. I'll tell you all about it someday, Magic Box, everybody else. But there's so many people that are these MREs, and they're so fucking batshit motherfucking mad as a brush. Bollocks. They don't have no sense whatsoever. And they swear that the men are always innocent. No, not always. But apparently, in your country, around 11% of the time, and in our country, about 3% of the time, they're guilty. The other 89% of the time, the other 97% of the time, they're innocent. And as I cut you loose on this, what's wrong with that? Is the pendulum swinging so far back, Magic Bollocks, that it's cutting the heads off of young men, that where women know now and are knowing, and it's being reinforced, listen and believe. All you have to do is hate this person. Anybody that says that a woman can't hate somebody enough to cry rape when it didn't happen is stupid. And people are saying that now in force.
Well, yeah, because I was just having a look because I remembered that recently the Met Police has a new commissioner, and her name is Carissa Dick. Now, I've been able to find a little bit of information out about her, but she seems like your atypical feminist. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's having a influence on the CPS to increase.
She's a dick.
Well, that's a very good description. I would have called it what's called Carissa Cunt, because that's probably more in line with what she actually is. I wouldn't be surprised if she is putting pressure on the CPS to get the rape convictions up, and I wouldn't be surprised if she takes the attitude guilty until proven innocent. And this is what really pisses me off about how rape is actually dealt with in, I don't know if it's just this country or in the West. The accuser can obviously have total immunity. I think even after the trial has ended, they can still be anonymous. But the actual accused, once it goes to trial, they aren't immune anymore. Their names can be splashed all over the press, so everybody knows them. And of course, they might end up totally innocent, but once you've been through that, there's always going to be people questioning what happened. The whole "there's no smoke without fire" attitude. And it should be something like that, something that could potentially ruin your life. You should be completely anonymous. The press should not be allowed to know who you are. If you're found guilty, fine, name them. If they're found innocent, the name never comes out, because you are potentially destroying a person's life, especially if they're innocent. I mean, that poor lad who was in the article you've just brought up, his conviction has been, his court case fell apart, so he's obviously innocent in the eyes of the law, and I'm sure he actually is innocent. But there will always be that stigma attached to him now. People will always know. You could look at his name, put it into Google, and these stories will come up in 5, 10, 20 years, you see. And as a potential employer seeing that, they're going to think, is this person somebody we really want, who was attacked, who actually went to court for a rape charge, even though they're totally innocent? And that's what I really, really, really boils my piss more than anything else, is these ridiculous, lack of immunity for these people. Because I don't think people really understand what they must go through. I mean, okay, if you are a genuine woman who has been raped, it must be absolutely terrible. And of course, you should get justice for it.
Well, and what about these cunts making light of it, man? It makes me sick.
Well, the problem is that, for every genuine...
And I hope you know what I mean. I mean these mattress girls making light
of
it.
No, yeah, I understand, yeah. It's for for every genuine rape that happens to a woman, how many false accusations are there? I mean, I don't know the actual fit. I'm sure somebody in the chat will probably know.
Like I was saying, according to your legal system, 11% are correct, and 89% thereabouts, I'm leaving out the points, I'm rounding it, are not, because they're saying they need to bring it up from 11%. We're just reading the article.
Yeah.
And so they're saying that this is what they prove now to be incorrect. Yes. And for some reason, the police, they're the ones saying it. The police say they need to bring that number up.
Yeah.
They're not saying because more people are guilty. They're saying that this is what justice has found, and we want justice to find more, whether they should be on this list or not. And look, this woman, man, this Emma Sulkowitz, Emma Sulkowitz. You know what this mattress is, folks? This mattress is where she got her dream that night. This mattress is where she got a bunch of good-looking young athletes to gangbang her. As far as I know, there's not even any video of it. It's not like she was gangbanged on this mattress and there was some revenge porn, or them boys would have been in trouble, and I say rightfully so. So you can't have, but look what she's parlayed it into. This weird professor. I don't know who's followed this story, and I'm getting a little off topic because I want to leave it on as much as I can what we're speaking of here with Magic Bollocks, because he said he's looked into this and why is Scotland Yard is doing this. But look at this, man. Right now it's 11% in your country is actually guilty. And in my country, they're finding that somewhere around, I'm going to round way up and say 3% are guilty. Why should we be concerned that that number is low? Shouldn't we be happy that there is this percentage of people saying this because they're distraught, and we can all before I ask you this, Magic Bollocks, don't we all understand that the weaker sex is a little more emotional and that they do these things? Don't we all understand that sometimes a woman does slap you or hit you and you have to just hold her hands and let the storm pass? Don't we all understand that? Why is it that on this one subject, we're not allowed to understand that, yes, hell hath no fury as a woman scorned? Why is that?
Mainly because they're naturally psychopaths, I would have thought, but it's a very controversial subject, isn't it? But I would like to look at it from a common sense point of view, which is, yes, what's called, some women do get raped, and yes, it is terrible, and yes, the perpetrator should be punished, but feminism has really muddied the water in terms of what to a normal person is, just normal congregative behavior with a member of the opposite sex. And you're getting, men now who are actually actively making sure when they are having sex, they make sure that they've got some kind of record of it, as in recording it or filming it, because
bloody crazy. Because
if they don't, there's a potential, there's the potential for the girl to then change her mind and say, "Oh no, actually it was rape." I've heard of stories where men have managed to be cleared of rape allegations because they actually recorded it on their phone or something similar. And there was a famous story in this country going back a few years ago. A footballer called Ched Evans was charged with rape, and it was to do with a girl that a fellow footballer of his had taken back to I think his hotel room, and he had sex with her and then invited this Ched Evans to come over, and they basically, took it in turns. He finished and Ched had a bit of sloppy seconds. And my understanding is that she was supposedly, the allegation was that she was so drunk that she could not have given consent to these men. And the first trial, the friend of Ched was found not guilty, and Ched was found guilty. And he went to jail, I think it was like 2 years or something. I can't remember exactly. And all the time he protested his innocence, said no, it was consensual. He tried to return to his old club. I think it's Sheffield or something. I can't remember. Someone in the chat will know. And he got all this abuse from feminists. He got one of our athletes, whose name I've forgotten now, famous female athlete, threatened to take her name off one of the seats in the stands if he returned. And all the while, he was protesting his innocence. I didn't do this. And then it came to light that the prosecution in the original trial had managed to suppress some evidence that the defense had tried to bring forward. And what it was information regarding her sexual history. Because normally in a court case, you're not strictly allowed to bring up a person's previous sexual activities, especially if it's to do with rape. But they allow.
And we can understand why for that. We can understand why.
You can understand that, yeah. But in this case, they were, once the retrial had been arranged, they were willing to accept this new evidence, and the reason was more footballers came forward who'd said they slept with this girl, and the account they all gave was that during the act of lovemaking, or to the more commoners out there, fucking, she said she would get onto all fours and say fuck me harder. So, and this was from several other footballers giving this account. And during his original trial, Ched had actually said that's what happened during the what's called the act of lovemaking. She got onto all fours and said, fuck me harder. As in, if she was so inebriated, she couldn't give consent. How was it possible that she could roll over onto all fours and actually say this? But of course, in the trial, it was her word against his. Now there was actual more witnesses saying the same thing. So it goes to retrial and the original conviction is quashed. But his old team still wouldn't take him back, and none of the feminists who'd attacked the football club and attacked him when he came out, none of them apologized. Nobody said sorry. That athlete, whoever the fucking hell she is, never said sorry. Now, the quashing of the actual trial doesn't necessarily mean he's innocent, but there is enough doubt to mean that you cannot convict. So in other words, if this evidence had been allowed during the original trial, he would never have been found guilty. And that's my point, is that there seems to be a real effort on the CPS's side at the moment, which is to convict. Doesn't matter how, convict. Doesn't matter if they're innocent or not. Fuck it. Get them into prison. We've got to make it look like we're actually doing something. But you can't enforce the law with that attitude. You're supposed to punish the guilty, not punish somebody because he happens to have a penis and because he once slept with a woman.
And yes, I think I will answer the I did conflate two mattress girls. I mean, it does matter because facts matter. So if anyone listened to me here and can't see the side chat, thank you so much, Susie Monkey. Yeah, I was conflating two because right now, apparently in our country, 98 out of 100 that say this person raped me are lying when they're female. If also you look at the stats here in our country, because I just seen this thing on Tucker Carlson, he had this woman on, and oh, women aren't raping men. Oh my goodness! If you look at the accusations and the convictions, it's the same, folks. It's egalitarian in our country. I honestly can't speak to England at all. In our country right now, there's very close in number to the number of men that say this female raped me, but it's not publicized, is it? You know, and it is just going from woman to man. No, that's not equal. But if we put it in prison rape, if we add prison rape to it, oh my gracious! Because out here I would have to include men and women raping men, so it doesn't. So it wouldn't be equal if I just said women. It's very, very close. So please look up the numbers. You can find them on FBI's webpage to tell you the numbers of men raped by women, number of women raped by men, allegations and convictions. That said, look, we're way past our time. Please give your final word and then go do whatever it is that you've got to do that will make sure that you can be here Friday and that we don't get our heads chopped off. Magic bollocks. Thank you again so much for being here, sir. Second to none. I think we were both, maybe not you. I was off a little bit tonight. I want to apologize to you for that because I kept looking at Common Sense and I don't know. But to be honest, as I carry on here, I'm a tiny bit concerned for my friend because at this festive time of the year, he's dealing with some things. So I just want to say one more time, and I may even in my last word, please, if you care about Common Sense, which I'm sure all of you do here, swing by there and his Twitter if you have it, email if you don't have Twitter, whatever, and tell him that you care about him and you hope everything's all right and that you can't wait to see him again. So what do you say, brother? Do you have something to say to us? One last thing?
Well, I'd like to say to all the men out there, go careful. I don't want any of you disappearing and then suddenly reading about you in the paper, because the last thing I want is any of our audience becoming a statistic. But I also want to say to everyone, I want you all to be happy. I want you to enjoy life. And I want you all to laugh lots, because I generally believe it is the thing that makes your soul glow. If you're a person who can't appreciate humor, then you're on the same level as a corpse. You really need to lighten up, enjoy the silliness of life, because life is absolutely ridiculous when you think about it. All the seriousness of our existence is just a distraction from us having a bit of fun. And especially at this time of the year, there are a lot of people who these days don't like fun because they think that somewhere somebody is the butt of the fun. I say to them this: tough titty. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, somebody's got to have a bit of fun. If somebody can't take a bit of fun, we don't care, because we're having fun, and that's your loss. I love you all in the chat. You're all amazing, and it's always great to see you every time I'm on. And please don't go away. Please come back and tell your friends, tell your family. We want to make this channel grow. We're going to make it as popular as we possibly can. I am only a guest on Ogre's channel, but I'm already starting to feel part of the furniture. And I do feel like I've had a few bottoms on my face already, and it's most of you in the chat. It's been a great honor. And Mr. Ogre, I can't help but thank you, my friend. You invited me onto the channel. I don't know why, but you did. I'm here now, and I couldn't be happier. Thank you.
All right, cheers. And now I fully expect you to bugger off now, mate, and take care of your responsibilities so we can continue this. But it wasn't just myself. Something happened when you and Shinobi Yaki were on that night. And Common Senseguy and I began to talk. And it just so happened that we weren't incorrect, Magic Bollocks. That seems like everybody enjoys you. And it's not that they enjoy you more than other people. It just seems that your cog fits into our universal joint. And when you're here, it does seem to turn as if it's oh so well oiled. So now I thank you very much. But before I give you my last word, I am going to see your icon disappear. It may even hurt you to do it because you're a lot like I am. But we both have things to do. And as soon as I'm done, I'm going to leave. So Magic Bollocks, the pleasure's all on my side of the channel. So folks, I'm going to say this. You never know how life is going to go. Good, bad, and different. One way or the other. You have no idea. We could all make tons of plans. We could have a very detailed outline for our lives, not just on a daily basis, but a moment-by-moment basis. We could be those kind of people. I'm not quite that, but I do like order. I like things to go the way I like them. I hurt my back not too long ago. A lot of people here will know that. And today, whether my back was hurt or not, which today it wasn't, it was time. And after 3 weeks, 2 weeks, something like that, of just laying around from that injury, even though I was in good physical condition, today was the difficult day to get out there on the wood pile. Oh, I was out of practice. I cut down this large poplar tree. It was a good 17, 18 inches in diameter at the base where I cut it. And for me, that's a large tree. I'm not a lumberjack. And, oh, man, I just didn't do it quite right. I found myself there pushing it. It's on a very steep hill. I was only about 16 inches away from destroying my Ford truck. Because even if the tip of this tree would have hit it, which it was 16 inches away, would have devastated that corner. And I was so lucky because I thought, well, it could go that way, and it shouldn't have. And so I did move my truck from utter destruction. We never know how things are going to go. That's why it's important for me, folks. It is. We have a new member here, Magic Bollocks, and he wasn't joking today, folks. He talked to me a little bit in the beginning about growth. And as far as growth goes on this channel, I'm the biggest problem. I do try to keep it relatively small. I'm going to start making some videos. I will at least make one video a week. My first video will come out tomorrow. And it's because I do want it to grow. Also, in some ways, I'm so glad that Susie Monkey's here, though. You know, I could mention a few more, but right now I'm just going to mention her. I'm so glad Susie Monkey's here. And even though sometimes to you folks out there, it seems like I don't see, but yes, I read every last text sent here, every last chat sent. That's why it's hard for me to see a lot of growth. On a big day here, we have 30. On a slow day here, we have 15. And it's always somewhere, usually right smack dab in the middle of that. It means a lot to me to be able to get people of varying opinions. It hasn't worked for every co-host here. We've went through, I mean, I'm not going to mention some that were recent, but with Day is Dead. Look, in fact, I shouldn't even have said Day is Dead. I love her. And it's not that she didn't work. We've had many co-hosts here. Right now, the only constant left after the last staff change is myself. And yeah, in a lot of ways, it's a difficult bridge to cross for me. I would have rathered it been a different way. But, you know, folks, there's only so much a human being can do. And it's not, I do draw certain lines. That's all I can say. I draw certain lines, and there's certain things that can happen, and that will be the end for me. That line was drawn in certain cases, and it was crossed more than once. And at the end of that, you know, things have to move on. I want to make my point, and I'm so glad, because I was worried. He is a lot like me, and I tell you, man, magic bollocks. The only problem I ever foresee is that he and I are so much alike that it could go wrong for some guests. In fact, Common Sense has a guest showing up, and I think, in fact, I know that day we have a white supremacist, like a guy that wants everybody to live in their own place, and what do they call it? A ethno divider. I can't remember what it's called. And that day, it'll just be Common Sense Guy and myself, and I will only be keeping time because it's difficult. I mean, Welchmere Stories, if you're still out there, we love you, man. We didn't mean to beat you up that day, but I did learn a lot from that day with Welchmere Stories. Oh, Common Sense Guy, and I can't remember who else it was, to be honest, but we had somebody else on there, and Welchmere's was on there doing a wonderful job, as he always did, making a reasonable, rational apologia for socialism and communism. And oh man, it ended up being 3 people beating him up, and it wasn't good. It wasn't only not good because Welchmere Stories, I don't see him in the chat right now, and he hasn't been on the show since then. That's not the only reason. In fact, that's the minor reason. The major reason it wasn't good was because we had someone on the show with a different opinion, and the cacophony of noise directed against him was such that he did feel attacked. And that's not the point here. It's not the point from me to any ex-co-host or from any present host, that being the Common Sense Guy and Magic Bollocks. I know Magic Bollocks, you'll watch this later. I feel I can speak for you on this. It's not our intent to portray that to anyone. We welcome all opinions. If you couldn't see that tonight with just a short amount of time that Magic Bollocks and I have known each other and how we interacted tonight, we did not agree on a lot of things. His ideas with how the cops and all that, just the show tonight, a lot of people have been here the whole time. We didn't agree on a lot of that. But censorship is abhorrent to me. I don't believe in it. I will not censor my co-hosts. Period. Hopefully Magic Bollocks is going to start a channel. I'm going to encourage him to. And hopefully one day we'll have it one day a week on my channel here, one day a week on Magic Bollocks' channel, one day a week on Common Sense Guy's channel. And old people will tell me, why would really, Mr. Ogre, why would you have it on the Common Sense Guy's channel with such a small channel, sir? You may lose a few views. Well, as much as we want people to listen to us and to see us, that's not the point. The point is this weird thing that I've started. I have started this. This is something I will take credit for. Is meant to do one major thing. Provoke thought. It's meant to make you think. It's meant to make you question what you believe. It's meant to make us wonder, why does Scotland Yard want to get their conviction rate up on something when we're not talking about finding more criminals that have been accused? We're talking about accused people that have been released. It's because they don't want to see the facts. If you look at this raw data, we're left with one conclusion if we have sense and honesty on our side, and that is a lot of women accuse men of rape that didn't happen. Now it's trying to be redefined. Sexual assault in this. Is it sexual assault if I think we're good friends and I get a little too drunk one night? And I'm talking to you men now, not Susie Monkey. I'm a little different than a lot of these guys. If Susie Monkey and I were there, I would give the old, hey, Susie. And if her arms didn't reach around me first, I wouldn't give the old, oh, good to see you, Susie Monkey. But that's my preference, and it's because of years of dealing with females and knowing that there's got to be very careful. Very careful. I was a preacher for a while. So very careful. What could we do to change this? I don't know, folks. I do know, and I'm going to tell you, but I don't know what will happen. But what we can do to change it is we can love one another. We can stop blaming others for our misdeeds and regresses. If we have regressed, if we've done a misdeed, if we've done a misnomer, if we've stepped outside of the norms of the culture, we have to accept it. We can't say, I did it because I smoked a little too much pot. Excuse me. Or because I got a little too drunk. We can't start saying, well, too much alcohol means you can't consent, or it has to be for everyone. That means if a female has sex with a drunk man, she raped him. We need this to be egalitarian. Not going to be the easiest thing to do, because the pendulum is swinging. One way or another, it's going to continue to swing. We have to decide if there's something we can do in our own realm to affect it. We can't, legislation. And look, I can end now, but if you people are still out there chatting and you want a few more minutes, let me know if you want 20 more minutes. I'll play a quick song and take a bathroom break and come back. If not, as I filibuster for a minute to see, press 2 if you're ready to wrap it up, and I'll wrap it up. So 1, if you'd like just another 20 minutes, I'll take a little bathroom break while I play a tune. And 2, if everybody's ready to wrap it up, and I just think that my own voice sounds so good. So let me know, folks, if you want me to continue. I will. Why? Because we do usually go around 3 hours, but it's all the you know, it's here. It's here. And I already see one person say 20 minutes, and I think that is a good number to shoot for. So thank you so much, too, folks, for responding, because, you know, I don't know what to, I'll just say this. I mean, today we've had, you know, point creation gave us £6, and I do believe that put us over the number. So without me filibustering now and doing this, I'll come back and I'll finish my last word right now. It's ogre. From now on, when people ask my religion, I'm an ogrist. Thank you so much. Welcome to Church Mose, and you are an ogrist. We would like to think that you are a thoughtist. You're a rationalist. You're a rationalist, and we just love you so much. You're part of the ogre army. You're part of the congregation here. I just thank also, before I go and have my bathroom break, I just want to say to all of you that have been around and that see that Magic Bollocks has come and taken a seat here as it worked out. I just thank you so much for. I've gotten no pressure over this. I've asked a few of you out there that are watching right now, you know, what do you think about Magic Bollocks? And it's always been so gracious. A couple people, I don't see either one of them now out there, but a couple people asked me, well, why was it Magic Bollocks and not myself? And I did explain it well, because it wasn't just myself that picked Magic Bollocks. It was also Common Senseguy felt the same way. And then we got so much fan mail. We don't get a lot of fan mail. And for once, I was getting tweets and texts and stuff about somebody that wasn't negative. And it was about Magic Bollocks. I was like, wow, we really loved him. Shinobi Yaki also. I don't know why we didn't ask Shinobi Yaki. Just anyway, so there's the long thing. So let me take this little bathroom break. Gotta switch some sound around, folks. But let's see. I'm also going to do my daggondest to play a song that will not get us struck down. So let me go to my show music, and I'm sure that I can do that. I'm going to play some show music. I'm going to play golly music. I'm going to play, let's see, I'm going to play Conspiracy, a really good one. And I may let it run on through Magic. Both of them very good. When I hit this button, I won't be able to talk anymore. Thank you so much, folks. Y'all mean so much to me. Merry Christmas. I trust that everyone's having a wonderful holiday season, that everybody out there's dreams are being fulfilled. And I'm humbled that I'm a small part of it. Yes, to whoever it was that asked a minute ago and I saw, we'll be having another broadcast before Christmas. Friday we will. And Christmas Day, I will be doing a broadcast from noon to 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which would be from 5 to 7 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time. So I'll be here on Christmas Day. Why? Because no one gives a shit about me or wants me around on Christmas. So I'm going to enjoy you folks, and we're going to have a good time. So enjoy this music. This is golly music. We're going to start with Conspiracy. Rock and roll will free your soul.
Politicians doing great, just be patient, have faith. Global warming so real, to the top gasoline. So true, so true. Found me many fingers pointing me, yelling just conspiracy. And I'm just out of box, still sound of Stevie Box. At the end I wanna say, we just need to sit and pray. Hit me like a rocky, true, don't be no monkey. It's not logical, oceans on the ball. Staring like a moon in my HUMP balloon overseas. Magical gravity, welcome to the hood. Reality of Hollywood, welcome to the hood. Reality of Hollywood. The biggest crime is in a bank, call it just a money prank. But these men walking still free, folks, I call it misery. So true, so true. Only you. Money's acting very strange, falling out of sun range. Billion tons of concrete, kicking nature to the feet. At the end I wanna say, we just need to sit and pray. Hit me like a rocky, true, don't be no monkey. It's not logical, oceans on the ball. Staring like a fool in my HUMP balloon flying overseas. Magic over gravity, welcome to the hood. Reality of Hollywood, welcome to the hood. Reality of Hollywood. So true, yeah. monkeys to the space, call it just a human race. Kids are dying from disease on the bottom of the list. At the end, I wanna say, we just need to sit and pray. Shoot me like a rocket, true, don't be a monkey. It's not logical, oceans on the ball. Staring like baboon in my aging balloon. Over the sea, magic over gravity. Welcome to the hood. Reality of Moneywood. Welcome to the hood. Reality of Moneywood. Welcome to the hood. Welcome to the hood. Reality of Moneywood.
Well, thanks for letting me have that little break, and I've got this little bit left in me. Not going to play 2 songs. I think when I do little breaks, I'll try to pick ones like that I'm almost positive won't get me struck down. I'm working on the last thing that I did with Zero Cool, because I don't even remember what it was, man. I had a couple things in there and they've struck it down, and it was really good. It was on Culture. And when they're still debating stuff, they won't even let me download it. It's hard for me. I've got a nice computer and stuff, but man, this stuff takes a lot of storage space. You know, I was saving every one. I'm going to get an exterior terabyte where I've got it set right up to just everything goes right to there. You know, no doubt about it. So I don't want that to get into my final little deal here. I had a little nacho after my bathroom break, because I tell you, I enjoy this. I love this, but I've done both sides of it. I've been out there, you know, in the chat, trolling away like all my beloved trolls. All y'all are trolls to me too. I don't want to break your hearts, okay? But I just know I can see it out there. I can feel it dripping off of 058. Mose just exudes, I will stomp you. You know, JJ Soda Rock, you can just tell that he's the kind of guy, you know, he'll argue you into the ground until you cry for mama. AlphaGo, you don't want to see that bitch in a dark alley. You know, Susie Monkey, good Lord. I could just see those 2 girls double teaming me. I could just see those 2 girls double teaming somebody and beating them up. I'm not sure what, just some kind of slip. Now, so here you go. You know, I really, not only do I appreciate you folks being here, and yeah, well, I think we'll do a little more promotion. I may try to get segments of our show put on public radio here. I've been considering it. I'm thinking I'm going to write them a letter. I went to school at one place that has a transponder, so I think that I may be able to get little short segments. Hey, Captain Coal Pile, man, what up? No problem, no problem. You're never late. You're always right on time. Whenever you're here, you're here. But yes, this is the final last word. It's been a good long show. And Captain Coal Pile, I really wanted to know what you think about Magic Bollocks. He's really fitting in here. But I have not really spoke to you about him yet. And look, Magic Bollocks, oh my good Lord, he's going to see this. I shouldn't have said that out loud. So I just know, I mean, he's already here. Just want to know your opinion. It's important to me. So how now, Magic, Captain Coal Pile's here. I get to start all over again. Because all these things we talked about tonight. I mean, look, in a perfect world, you don't tell the police your name. Not unless they come to you and say, I saw you running from that store there with the window broke out. Would you stand here for a moment? In fact, then you should have told them your name. Would you stand here for a moment? Then when the owner comes out and says, oh, I don't know this person, and you saw him running out. No, that's like, who are you? Okay. At that point, I reckon if you don't want to tell them, they should try to find out who you are. But if you're not caught in the commission of a crime, no. Captain Coal Pile's name is his business. It ain't yours. And if you don't give me or Captain Coal Pile a reason to tell you our names, to make it your business, you don't get them. for folk like me, the way that you get that is by showing me some respect, asking me, by not using the knowledge of my name against me and trying to hurt me. Those things don't apply to most people that wear costumes that are colored blue and little 10 things, and go out here not to serve and protect, but to harass and collect. I mean, where I live, I can't say that, because the police around here are relatively good, and the bad ones, they don't seem to last very long. We live way up in the country. We have our problems. When we have them, they're serious. They're not, we probably have murders. We have everything up here. But we also have something wonderful in the state called the Michigan State Police. And they are our Lieutenant Columbos. They know, they do it. They know how to get tracks out of the state, know how to do it. They get tracks of the snow, out of the sand. They'll hunt you down. They do DNA analysis. They're wearing cop uniforms, man, with their big old antiquated hats. But I tell you what, they don't mess around. On their front of their cars, they still have a plastic placard that sticks out of the hood. So from the side, you see it says stop in red. It says stop. I'll tell you. And there's something, they carry weight. I respect those cops, man, the Michigan State Police, to the bone. My last name, one of my cousins is a Michigan State policeman. And because my last name is so unusual, it's not hurt me in the past. I've had people, and he was highly decorated. He went to a armed robbery one day, and he got shot in the leg. But I mean, you know what? Honestly, I don't think he killed anybody, but he did get shot in the leg, and he discharged his duty faithfully and honorably. So, as Captain Colpile just said, when you have the freedom to say that 2 + 2 is 4, the rest will follow. When we have a boot stamping on our face, telling us that 2 + 2 is 5, and not just telling us that, but torturing us socially, physically, mentally, until we see the 2 + 2 is 5. We don't even see 4. We see it there. And it's there. That's the evil. That's the part of the evil that we face that is the most insidious. Why are we as mankind allowing this to happen? Listen, some people that say they've been raped were raped. Statistically, a lot of men that are raped don't say anything about it. And just look at the numbers. I didn't even mention those numbers. And then statistically, a lot of women that say they were raped just weren't. If you look at this through the lens of justice, not feelings, man, there's been things been going down just now. Hey, Mr. Blackmore sent me Twitter. Hey, do you did you you know, a friend of mine, man, something's been going on with somebody that you know over there in England. I'm just going to say, even right here while I'm on my thing, because I would like to be able to let everybody know if I can. I think a friend of mine may be okay. I just got to, because Mr. Blackmore knows Common Senseguy. I think they're, I don't know if they're related or just good mates or what, but let me see. Hopefully he's around now. I'm going on, and I know, and folks, I don't even care at this point. I'm just wondering what's going on with Common Sense, and I think he's available now. So if he can come back on, if this goes on a little bit longer, that's fine. And if y'all need to go, you can go. And I know that was my final word or whatever, but y'all heard where it was going, and I can always wrap it up there. I've got everything written down. So let me see if Common Sense is going to follow up, because yeah, I know, man, I missed him today. I know all y'all did too. Something about that big guy. All his talk about he don't think he's so good looking on camera and stuff. Oh man, the guy, he's so pretty to me. I don't even know. I would love to see his face. I'm not going to do any press 1s and 2s right now because I don't want to make him feel weird. If he wants to show his face, he will. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But I do enjoy seeing him, and he is very, I would say this, he's cherubic to me. He keeps his beard really nice. And just the other day, he, you know, the last video he put up, he had a nice sweater on with a nice tie, and it's almost like, I would say, schoolboyish. And Boy, this is sounding creepy now. I'm talking about a schoolboy now. Ooh, little schoolboy. Now, a little schoolboyish. And to be honest, oh man, he looks good. He looked good. I would like to have seen it with a little. I'm getting ones. I'm not even asking him. He's not here, folks. I'm not sure if he can see that. Blackmore would tell him though. If Blackmore was still here, Blackmore would tell him. But Mr. Blackmore, if you get a hold of him before I do, let him know that the link is in his Twitter. I'm gonna double check it right now and make sure that it is. It's in there. Yeah, I enjoy looking at him too, folks. That's why I'm getting the ones, and I see the names too. I see y'all in his chats down there. What the heck? I get some stuff sometimes on Twitter that just make you cringe. Tell you what. Yeah, he should be coming. Let's see here. Boom. Well, I can filibuster. I mean, I can continue on with what I was saying, or just filibuster in another direction, or you know what? I can find. Let me fire up this doobie. This is Super Silver Haze. Man, I tell you what. It's December now, close to Christmas, and this was outdoor grown. And I tell you what, man, it's just so good. Hey, what's up, Common Sense? I seen you pop in there. How you doing, brother?
Not too bad, mate. I'd just like to apologise to everybody at this moment in time. Unfortunately, I took some sleeping medication, which is a tablet called amitriptyline, and I took over 100 grams, and yeah, it didn't go well for me.
No worries. Well, I guess I was a little melodramatic because I had no idea. I mean, you do get. In fact, I didn't say nothing even on the air earlier, but you know, you make videos, and I know that you said something, so I had no idea. I imagine. You know me. Imagine the worst. Something bad happened and you were off taking care of your family or something.
No, luckily enough, everything... Oh, on that front, yes. Everything is actually quite well at the moment. Everything seems to be going on the mend for family members and everything at the moment. So everything's going quite well on the front. It just so happened that sleeping tablet, and yeah, I fell asleep.
Oh, that's good. No, that's actually wonderful news. Oh, it was just a day today anyway. And hell, it was kind of nice. It worked out well because what happened is basically it made Magic Bollocks got thrown in the deep end with me. Just right up in there, man.
I saw he did quite well.
Yeah, he didn't do bad. No, he was good. He did fine. You're good. I think for anything, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I hopefully I didn't crash the ship, but I was curious of what was going on and was hoping that you were okay, but we carried it through, and he definitely did well. He's going to be good, mate. You know, there was a few times tonight where what happens, but it was like, ooh. I mean, if Common Sense, there was a couple times where if you would have been there, I think it would have been good. And it would have been good also because, you know, when people disagree that can be agreeable about it and end up being friends, those are the best kind of disagreements. How was your nap, mate?
Yeah. you know when you fall asleep and you don't even know that you've been asleep? Yeah, it was one of them.
The best ones, dude.
It was one of them. I took my tablet around about 7ish, like with dinner, and then all of a sudden, 7:30, I was asleep. And the next thing I knew, Mrs. tapped me on the shoulder, was like, "Aren't you doing your show tonight?" I was like, "Yeah, it's fine. It's not even. No, it's nowhere near time yet." She was like, "Yeah, it's 10:30, 11:15." I was like, "Oh fuck."
Well, that's the way she goes. Keeps us on our toes, man. And so, hell, I'll stay. I mean, I've got to I could go within, I don't know, 3 hours, but whether it's the show map or whatever, what you got to say to us today, Common Sense? Anything at all, or you just want to kind of fizzle out and let it drift off?
I'm just quite happy just letting things try and progress naturally. I mean, I know show maps obviously have already been done, so there's no point in me reiterating what's already been said on the show map. But it's more of a case of I did not leave anybody. I tried. It just I couldn't get here in time.
No, and we touched on some things. There was a couple things I almost wanted your opinion on, but we didn't touch on a couple of them. I just dragged my feet on which one was it? Number 3, but we finally hit it, was where Trump is, you know, finally didn't really respond to Eminem, and Eminem is now making a big stink, but Trump still hadn't responded to him, and it shows that he could have power by letting people talk shit and not say anything. But I think the big one was Michael Gove. And he had I mean, they just photographed. It was just so petty. It was really some petty shit, mate. I don't know.
Well, if we're going to quickly go on Trump, I'll quickly do that one. Lessons for Trump and obviously like that. I think it's a case that people like Eminem shouldn't expect the leaders of the free world or the leaders of your country to respond to them. They're not rappers. They're not going to respond to them so you can elevate your career again just because you wanted to publish a new album that you've got coming out and have got coming out. Because that's the only reason why he's come out and obviously done this. It's nothing to do with the political side of things. Because if it was political, then he would be running against him as a Democrat or whatever. This is all publicizing for his new album that's coming out. His new songs with Beyonce and all them type of things. That's all Eminem's looking for. It's a platform to elevate his career again. To go, yeah, we are on this side. We are this type of people. I feel disgusted that Eminem wants to come off and try to actually play political politics and actually identity politics.
Dude, I vaguely remember. Didn't you do a video about this thing that he did?
Yeah, this was the video that got me a naughty boy, got me a strike.
But you did cover it because I vaguely. So I mean, just I mean, what did you think about that whole deal? Because to me, it was I don't even know how to articulate it.
Well, the video itself,
hot coffee pot.
Probably not. But no, that whole fucking video was just absolutely amazing. But it's not amazing in the way that he wants it to be amazing. He's supposed to be one, or considered at least, one of the best lyricists in generations. And you look at that promotional video that he did when he was first coming back, and you look at the actual lyrics that he was putting down, and it's just like, how are you supposed to be this amazing lyricist that seems to supposed to flow? How did you get so good at Detroit when you were coming first and second and things like that in freestyle rap against people in the underground? But yet you come out after years, obviously, of not doing anything, and you come out and you actually produce something that your biggest insult is he's orange, and you're going to splat him against the wall just because it rhymes. And it's just, for me, it's a case that you've literally just been pressured into doing this because you've been asked to come back because you know that you're doing an album, and you've asked your agent, what's the best way of producing this? And it's like, well, if you want any sort of publicity or any sort of fame or things like that, go against Donald Trump. That's the thing that you're doing nowadays. As soon as you go against him, you'll be elevated back up to where you were before. And I think a lot of stars are doing that. Just taking pot shots at Trump because they know that he's not going to respond, because why should he? And
well,
if he does,
he's so anal about it that you got struck down for using that video where he's in the thing, hot coffee pot, and see if I got a little bit of snot and all that. They took you down for using that.
Well, I got took down for particular other reasons. I was a naughty boy because I was advertising the video on different platforms. But that's the reason why I got community strike, because I was advertising it too quickly. YouTube did not like me.
That just shows that if it was whatever. If you're so vehement about what you think, you shouldn't mind people using a little bit of your stuff for commentary. Because I've never seen you steal anybody's anything. I've not witnessed that. You've never been like, hello, I'm the Common Sense guy, and then started a video and then came back 30 minutes later after somebody did a bunch of work that you just broadcast and be like, hope you enjoyed that video. Bye. That's not the way it's ever went. You've always...
I always tend to add at least an extra 30 minutes on top of a 15-minute video somehow. I always seem to have... I think Coach Red Pill actually put it best before. How did you get to 45 minutes after responding to a 12-minute video? And it's just... That's just me. I have a lot to say. I wanted to bring that up today. The whole Kraut thing. Now it's coming out that Coach Red Pill, he's had his address on his Patreon feed for a long time. I don't know. He had it on there for years.
It's just more examples of just to me almost YouTube drama, dude.
Well, not
I seen that from your
for
feed.
very, very long.
Huh?
I said yes. Carry on. I didn't. I think you might.
Oh no, I was done. I think I seen that on your feed. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, no, it's just the thing with Coach Red Pill is, I mean, V's just recently come out in video and gone. Coach Red Pill's basically lying, but not in so many words. He's now coming out to try and say that Sargon knew what was going on, and all he's got is a vague reference saying that Kraut messaged him, and it's just fair enough. I don't know what's going on with Sargon and things like that. I don't know. I'm not physically there. I'm not involved. And again, trying not to turn this into a drama channel, obviously, but it's a case with me. I think you've got the people that are mainly involved. I mean, Jeff Holiday, as much as I love him and respect him, I really do. He's one of my favorite YouTubers. He's got something to answer for on that point in time, and he needs to answer it. Because otherwise,
I mean, because I do not follow this at all. So forget about a drama channel. We're obviously not a drama channel. Just since we're not, it's incumbent on us to kind of break this stuff down. And you know about this, so. I like Jeff Holiday too. What the hell did he supposed to do wrong? I ain't seen none of his videos now in about probably 3 or 4 weeks. I usually catch up with people incrementally, and then I have my favorites. Anyways, so that's the way it's in. So what the hell did he do now?
Well, with Jeff Holiday, it's supposed to be the fact that he had. He was the one who got the information for the doxing of Coach Red Pill. Apparently, he was the one who was leaking it to Kraut and stuff like that. And apparently, he also knew that other people were being doxed as well. Apparently.
But, okay, maybe it's other people, but I'll just say again, Coach Red Pill's information has been on his thing for a long time. It wouldn't really be doxing. It'd be if somebody rebroadcast a self-dox, okay. I don't know, man. All I know is when people hate somebody, common sense, and I've witnessed this because it has happened to me. When people hate somebody and they want to like shut them down and really make it so they just are complete, they accuse them of doxing. So, man, as I said the other day, that's the thing that so if Jeff Holiday doxed Coach Red Pill, he's a dick. But if he didn't, he's not.
But that's the thing, though. Even if Jeff Holiday had all of the information and everything else like that, he hasn't doxed him in the sense of actually publicizing his docs and anything else like that. The way with Jeff Holiday, the way that he's supposed to have done it. Now, obviously, I'm only going on secondhand information from people like Coach Red Pill and Andy Warski in the show and things like that. And, of course, from Jeff Holiday, actually. He's actually said that he's posted a message about what am I supposed to do with this information. And he's posted it to a small little group in his Twitter DMs. So it's not out in the open, so to speak, but he still posted it to other people he knows. So, in a way, if in a court of law, technically, he has doxed him, but not in a way that Coach Red Pill is saying. All that Jeff Holiday has done in this instance on Coach Red Pill's side is to say that the information that I've already found that's already out there in the internet, here it is in one foul swoop, rather than you going to have to look for it.
Yeah, that still sucks. I won't lie. Okay, so that's what happened. Is what you're describing. He took things that were already out there, compiled them, and was like,
pretty much.
Okay, well, that's not cool either, because I'm sure with facial recognition software, hopefully my Facebook has gone so good that won't happen anymore. But I doubt it. I mean, if my face is on somebody else's stuff, even if my thing's gone, I think it'll still show up with my full name. And you have my full name. Very few people do, though. I think I could count, like, there's that many people that know my full name. But the ones that do, I know their full name too. In fact, the only ones that do, we know each other's address. I mean, it's not like I'm not worried about you doxing me. Also, I don't know what on earth you would gain from doxing me, and I think you feel the same way. Like, what on earth would I gain from it? It's not something it's not even an issue. But the idea of it, man, and I hear you want to speak, man. I'm so glad you're here, Common Sense. I missed you, and I was a little worried, but I'm glad you're here now. And I should be going out and filling up the wood stove, but I think Mrs. Soger's doing it. She must have heard me go, "Oh, Common Sense." But so what's up? I mean, again, I like Jeff Holiday. I won't even lie. Even if this is true, if he compiled that stuff and released it, I'll still like Jeff Holiday. We all do dick things. I hope he didn't do that.
No, he's
but
already admitted that he did that bit. He at least put his information to people in a small group.
damn, I don't know how you keep up on all this stuff. I'm glad you're here because you do. But so he came right out in a video. Okay, so go
In
carry
on Andy Warski's part 2 of the.
Dude, they interrogate people though. I've got to go back and watch it now then, because they're like interrogators. The chink and the white boy, the two boys. They're and they get to give people. I was asked on over. I ain't gonna go with names, but I was asked on there twice. I ain't going on Warski's show. You kidding me? That's like admitting. That's like saying, "Oh yeah, I'll talk to the FBI without a lawyer." Oh yeah. Oh, MI6 is here. You know, just common sense. MI6 is here. Oh sure, I've got a lot to say to him without my solicitor. Sure. No, you got nothing to. So no, I'm not going on there. And even though I hear this, I'm sure it's true common sense. You'll have to break it down for me, because those boys. I heard you giggle. You know what I'm talking about. Those boys they're the Gestapo of the internet.
Yeah, they can be. They can be. If Chris is there with Andy, then you've got a lot of problems. Andy is very good at the drama side, but trying to quote statistics and things like that on his own, Andy, you could possibly go around him. But when both of them are together, no, you're definitely correct. You won't get round them like that.
That's the white boy. The Chinky is my favorite, but I
like Chris. I like Chris. I like Chris a lot. I think he's quite genuine. I'm not saying Andy isn't. It's just if I had
you're right. I got you. So carry on before we get in trouble, because these some bitches want to have us on next, and we ain't going on their show. You can if you wanted. I can't tell you what to do, but we ain't going on. So carry on.
No, but they did kind of when Coach Red Pill and John François, can't remember his last name, JFG, the French scientist, they went on to Andy Warski, and Coach Red Pill was trying to do what Coach Red Pill always does, and trying to initiate some sort of freaking fight between him and Jeff Holiday. So Andy said, "Okay, well, I'll bring on Jeff because obviously he's a friend to Andy." And before he even come on, Coach Red Pill was like, "Well, make sure that you don't always make sure that you put your little puppy on a leash." And it's just like you don't have to say that. He's there trying to do something particular. He's not going to let Jeff Holiday run all over the show because it's his show. So he come on anyway, and he explained different bits and pieces. And the thing is, Coach Red Pill got so annoyed that he left the show. And that's how you know that he's disingenuous, because he's not defending his points. He made his points and then he ran away.
Well, that's even worse, because I've been on shows where I just hammered for like an hour and a half, man, on one. I did it twice, and then it was enough for me. That's why I didn't go on Warski. Because, yes, I will stand there, listen, and I will stand and deliver. I think that's the best way to say it. And I've done it. It's all on for posterity. Someone could find it pretty easily if everyone here hasn't already seen it. And I did leave, too. But I've seen I got to go watch this now. Coach Red Pill, I really want to do something, Common Sense Guy. I really want to get him on the show. So I'm going to start watching him very carefully. He does do live streams, right?
He does a hell of a lot of live streams. He's got quite a lot of big YouTubers that go onto his show. He's got Aladdin Paladin that goes on his shows quite a lot. He's got Bear and Ruin that goes on his show quite a bit. He also has people like No Bullshit that he has on a regular basis. Not all the time, but on a regular basis.
Damn, that's still, I don't care, man. I can't even, every time I hear No Bullshit now, I should have overruled that day. That's all I can say. It would have been 2-1 though, and that would have been a dick move. So no matter what I think now, he won't even answer me now, man. But that particular day, and you would have been fine. For you, it was just nerves. I really felt like at that time that I wouldn't even have been overruling you, because for you, it was just nerves. If he would just come on the show, would have been fine, man. You'd have been fine. Anyway, what's done is done, and fun is fun, and done is done.
Yep.
So, but no bullshit. I won't give up on him, but I just want Coach Red Pill on, regardless. So I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna see if I can't hit him up in his side chat. If I can't get his attention just with my fingers, I'll send him a super chat and just something really nice, reminding him of it, because I'm sure he remembers you. Guy's not stupid. But
I
I'd
know,
like to have him on.
He remembers me. I've had little Twitter discourse with him over the last couple of days, so I know he remembers me.
Yeah, yeah, I know he does too. I'm sure he does. But that's another reason. I would like to have him on because y'all know each other, and it just all this shit. I'd like to hear right from the horse's mouth, what he thinks about this without any kind of Worski-esque pressure. In other words, just you and I, Common Sense. We're gonna get a guy here. We're gonna make him feel real good before he knows that his pants are down around his knees and it's too late. You know what I mean? But he enjoys it. We have it so he enjoys that.
Yeah, we make sure we're good first. We're not just going to go in hard.
Yes, no rape, no. Yes, no rape jokes. But that's the way it is. So I don't know, mate. I've got to go out and load my furnace pretty soon, and I'll tell you, I'm glad you swung by. I was asked earlier today if, and we're going to do it all over again because you weren't here. Well, that's why I'm trying to do it now because you got to have your last word. You weren't even here. You got to have your final word. You must have something to say today. It's been something, man. The whole day for me. Very close to dropping a tree on my truck, and it was just instinct why I didn't. Because the tree shouldn't have fell that way, and but it could have, and it was in the range of the tree, and that's my rule that I stick to, even if it's a pain in my butt. Today it was. I meant moving my truck, to a point to where once the tree did fall, I still had to carry the stuff further to get to the trailer, but didn't destroy my truck. About that much. That's why I said the morning I had, because man, when I got back home after the hard physical work and that. Because watching the tree fall and going, oh, I hope I estimated right. I hope I estimated right. I hope, boom, and it hit so hard. The branches, some of the branches flew up and it landed on the top of my truck. It's an old dead tree. You had to see it. Looked like an explosion right there. So that's it, man. I'm going to prod you to tell everybody what you think. And then I'm going to go out and see if Mrs. Ogre slipped and died trying to do my nightly chores and then fill up my furnace and go to bed. I love this time of the year, mate, because it's the time of the year when you can put on a nightcap and you can hear the wind out there whistling, just howling.
Yeah, I like it when it's pissing down outside. I love doing that when it's pissing outside, when the rain's lashing against the window, and you can just sit there absolutely quiet as nothing, no lights on or anything else like that, just a little bit of a drink and just listen to that rain pounding against the window, so to speak. And it's just, I don't know, there's something in that when you can just listen to nature and just know that it's not you versus nature, but you and nature. And it just, I don't know, it clears your mind a hell of a lot. It takes away all your stress.
People gotten too far away from that. And look, you're on a good tone, so carry on, mate. Give us your word of the day. I'll wrap us up, and then I got to go do my final chores, whether I like it or not.
To be honest, I haven't really got too much of a final word today. Just don't take a sleeping tablet before you're actually supposed to be on the show, because it kind of fucks up the show. But if I'm going to actually produce a little bit of a final word, I suppose I'll give a quick update just in case anybody missed anything. The family member that's in hospital, absolutely fine. Nephew, absolutely fine. My nan, who's the family member, should be home by the 23rd, so should be able to spend actual Christmas and Christmas Eve with family and friends down there. So that's all good news on that aspect.
All right. Cheers.
Yep. Exactly. So that's all good on that side of things. I am going to start producing some videos again. I am going to, at some point, start actually producing videos again rather than these goddamn update videos. I mean, I know people love seeing my face and everything, but I'm going to have to actually start producing some videos. Apart from that, unfortunately, I will not be here for Friday. That is a definite. This Friday, I will not be here, unfortunately. I have to have family commitments of taking my, should I say, my step-parents. Step-parents? No. Not step-parents. My missus's mum and dad. I can't remember what they're called now.
Oh, I'll muddle through. We'll make it. I don't really expect to see you again until next Wednesday, then, to be honest, because Monday is Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll work it out. We'll see you when we can, and then the 5th of next month of January, we're going to do our end of the year extravaganza.
And my birthday piss up.
Yes, yeah, your birthday. I know. I was waiting for that. I know it now, and so we'll probably be doing that every year. And I'll always know that date now. But so that's it. I got something short, and I'm out too, man. It's been good. Just good to know that it was a sleeping pill, and I'll tell you what. That's what I told everybody too, is I didn't say much, and then I know everyone wondered where you were at, Common Sense, and then I'm looking, and I had to admit, I was like, well, I'm not. I don't think he's dead, and I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly what I said. I don't think he's dead, but this would be the first time that I don't see him and I haven't heard from him. So I'm wondering right now what. And so we got to, that was one thing I didn't have on the list, but it makes. I mean, of course.
Yeah,
and who hasn't done that?
No, that's fine. It's just unfortunately.
And who hasn't done that, man?
A lot of people have obviously. But
I do it all the time. I
had a bad flare up today, so I took quite a bit of my pain relief tablets, and it then come to a point where I couldn't take any more pain relief tablets because I wasn't allowed to take any more. So I took one of the sleeping tablets.
See, it wasn't gossip because I did say that too. I was like, well, he did mention in his video today that he's got flare up with the fibro. And his migraines are giving him hell. So I said maybe he just found a way to get out of that, or in fact I didn't say that. I said maybe he's just having trouble from it. I should, but hey, let's face it. If you're having those kinds, man, look, I mean, I ain't gonna go through the whole long liturgy, but I got it here and there and roundabout myself. Yeah. Most of the time, when you look at me, it hurts. In fact, if some of the things that hurt right now, if they hurt this way just 10 years ago when I was young, I would be crippled up and think it was the end of the world. But I've come to deal with some of these things that may, would have been bad before. And Common Sense, man, when we can escape from any of that, so be it, mate. And it don't matter how to escape from it, to hell with everybody. It's anything is good.
No, that's correct, mate. I mean, I woke up today and I actually wanted to have a new hip because my hip was hurting that badly. The ball and socket point, actually in the middle of your groin and that was actually hurting so badly that I actually wanted a new hip. So, yeah, I was doing well today.
Yeah, well, I told you my back hurt the other day so bad. I think the first time I shared it on air, but my bollocks hurt. My back and it's funny you said hip because it was like the back side of my back real low down on the top back part of my hip. But it was radiating to my bollocks, mate, where it felt like I was kicked in the groin. And nothing happened. There was nothing wrong with that part of my body. But I'll just ask you, I'm guessing I know the answer, but have you ever had a pain that was so bad that you actually felt the pain in other places in your body where you knew the pain wasn't?
With me, I get pain everywhere. So every now and again, I get pain that goes from my feet. And then sometimes I feel that I had the pain from my feet in my knees and then in my back and then in my shoulders and then my neck.
Oh God, yeah, that fibromyalgia. I really misplaced my mind for a second. Yeah, that's that's bloody hell, and it's really a mystery. Some doctors say, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with you." Am I wrong?
Some would say that. Somebody just asked me if I was to take a particular pill, turmeric and something else. I actually take about 20 milligrams of morphine sulfate in a singular tablet, and I normally take 6 tablets of them, roughly. It depends on the day.
120 milligrams of morphine a day, that's quite a lot.
Yeah, it does depend on the day. Sometimes it's only 4, sometimes it's 6. I very rarely go over 6.
Well, and you folks have also seen Common Senseguy. He's not a little kid. It's not like that isn't. For you, that's probably a medium dose. For me, that'd be quite a lot, but I'm about half your size.
Yeah, I know. I'm a big boy.
Well, I mean, I don't mean you're fat. I mean, your head's twice as big as my head. You're just a big fucking guy.
Yeah, it'll do. I can't really moan about that side of things. That's just me. I've always had a big head. I've always been big-ish. It's just the way it is. I've always been tall. I've been 6 foot since the age of bloody 13, 14. So, I mean, I started smoking at that point in time. So I actually quite happy I started smoking at that point in time because I would have not
Why,
known
you think
how.
it stunted your growth?
I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty happy for that.
Maybe me too, because I'm 6'2" right now. And when I was, man, that's big. When I was 13, I was 5'11". I was nearly 6 foot, but I wasn't 6 foot. You said when you was 13, you were 6'2"? That's big.
No, I was 6 foot dead on. I was 3 inches smaller than my dad in height when I was 13, 14. I was basically ready enough to play football on adult teams.
Look, man, I had my cuppa and my fag every morning from the time I was about 12 and a half. My old man, he didn't even smoke. But when I was in the shop, he smelled cigarettes on me one day. He must have. I was about 12. And the next day I was in the shop and there was a pack of Camels, no filter. Pack of Camels there. And Dad said, I smelled the cigarettes on you. And he just pointed. He didn't say I bought them for you. He just went. It was much like this comment. I smelled the cigarettes on you. And then he went right back to working, and I'd seen a pack of cigarettes there. And so I smoked. But he drank coffee. And anyway, I mean, it's hell. I don't fucking know. Everybody's like, well, cigarettes kills you, and heroin kills you, and cocaine and caffeine and skydiving and well, and you know, unprotected sex. And well, what if you took all that away? Common sense. What's life worth living?
Well, it's not, is it? That's the whole diatribe of obviously being human, is the fact that we get to decide what we want to do, where we go, who we love, who we don't love, to a point, who we chase after, who we don't chase after. That's just right. the whole point of actually living, isn't it? If you take them away from people, then what's the point?
Ain't no point. Ain't no point at all. And now I'm beating everybody up, and hell, I've said everything I need to say. I think you have too. Been a long, cold day. Been an interesting and wonderful day. Glad you're safe. I hope all my friends are safe. Britisher, Jeff Holiday, Warskis, Cognitive Thought, failure accomplished. Let me think. I hope all my friends, because in the end of life, it's just like high school, folks. And this is the last thing I got to say before I do my deal. Just like, remember back, y'all, to parochial school. What do y'all call it? The little school, Common Sense. I heard you say it the other day. What do you call
primary?
Just okay. So you think back to primary school, and when you're on the playground, when you think back now, even the kids you didn't like then, they were your friends. Mm-hmm. They were all part of your group. They were all part of your crew. You might not have hugged every one of them. You might not have played doctor with every one of them. You might not have played football with every one of them. Or tetherball, whatever it is that we played, Foursquare, or any of these cool games. But you knew them, and they were there, and they were your friends. That's why Cognitive Thought, Failure Accomplished, Tonka Saw, TheBritisher, Common Senseguy, all of y'all are equally my friends. If nothing else, equally my peers, because yes, all of y'all that I mentioned and many more I can't think of right off the top of my head are all my friends. It's the way it is. It's the way this world goes. We're all peers. We're all the same mates on the same ship, bailing out the same water. It doesn't matter if you don't like me or if I don't like you. We're still messmates. Doesn't matter if you think I'm a dipshit and I love the sound of my own voice and I'm full of just utter spunk and vinegar. We're messmates. We're shipmates. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if I think that you're a small-minded individual that couldn't find his ass with both hands and never had a cohesive thought in his entire life. You're still my peer. In fact, if someone disdains me or dislikes me for something I believe or something I say, or if I disdain or dislike them for something they believe or something they say, it puts us on a peerage that surpasses friendship in a lot of ways, because at this point, you have peers that are very critical of one another. So look, this only don't apply at this wonderful time of the year to your very close family. These get a pass. So I want to remind everybody, at this festive time of the year, one more time, you've got one more show before Christmas this Friday, and that's the last time you'll have to hear this from the Ogre this year. Reach out to that loved one, reach out to that friend, reach out to that family member that you haven't seen in a long time. Give them a call. Make it that one that you thought would hate your guts. Take a chance, take a risk. Maybe they'll tell you to get fucked. Maybe they'll say, it's been a long time, friend. How's life? And a new friendship will be struck. Life's all about risks. And like Common Sense and I just were discussing, hey, you take out all those risks. Common Sense didn't take but a second. He said, life isn't worth living then. And hell, I even throw unprotected sex in there. It's all a risk. Loving someone, having a wife, having a family, being a father or a mother. It's all a risk. All those risks will pay off. And as the cold seeps in, as we consider those of us that are Christian, that one that came and died, as we consider those of us that are Jews, that standoff at Messiah, we remember Hanukkah, we remember all these things. Be good to your friends, be good to your family members, be good to your loved ones. Be quick to say you're sorry. Be even quicker to accept an apology, especially when that thing your friend, your family member, your loved one has done seems to be so huge you'll never be able to forget about it. Because constant viewers, at a time you think not, even at this festive time of the year, your friends, your family members, your loved ones, your life, your cause, and everything you know will depart from you.